Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. I don't know to where. We had no general destination.
The street
You're
corner.
listening.
We made it to the street corner waiting for the ice cream man.
So you're listening to Smooth Whistling, the river.
What the fuck is going on here?
Sometimes I like to get real close to the microphone and talk super quiet like NPR. Like, today we have the Cambodian Butt Tribe. And they had these... And like, you know what I mean?
You're listening to GrindHaus on 42nd Street. This is Wolfman, and with me is Gray. We're going to talk about the ice cream man.
But first, a track from Yanni. Or Michael McDonald, whatever. Fuck. I am Gray.
I'm Wolfman.
And that was a great episode. All right, see you
All
then.
right, see you later. Fuck off.
No.
Bye.
We are recording this episode Sunday nights now. And basically how it was going is we would record Monday nights and we would release part 1 on Tuesdays and part 2 on Wednesday. Thursday would be GrindHaus Radio, and Fridays would be the Serial Killers Academy. And we would have stuff going on all in between. We had live streams going on. You got, the game streaming that Wolfman's been able to do with his channel, but also incorporate GrindHaus on our Facebook. So now, like, literally there's no excuse to, like, not be able to find it because it's everywhere. It's so accessible. I'm so glad we got that going. But we are having a little bit of a schedule switch. First, with us recording Sunday nights, that means GrindHaus will be released Mondays and Tuesdays, part 1, part 2.
Yay, one day earlier for you lovely folks.
Exactly. And it's the beginning of the week. So it leaves us more time in the middle of the week to not have to, like, double publish. You know what I mean? GrindHaus Radio will still remain on Thursdays, just because it's easy to put it out on that day. So what's going on for Wednesdays? Do we have anything lined up?
Not particularly. I mean, we're still working on things, but as of right now, nothing set in stone.
Okay. I mean, it might be like a random stream night where...
Yeah, we might. Words. Some people have noticed that we've been going live here and there with random streams. We're working on our video, so I mean, maybe there'll be another one Wednesday, on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what's going on. We're working on some things.
And like Wolfman will randomly stream his gaming channel, and then he'll put it on GrindHaus as well. So I mean, that could happen at any time. You know what I mean? Also, I might be streaming some games here soon, doing more retro horror stuff and, things like that. And then with the Serial Killers Academy, we made the decision to put out an episode every 2 weeks. But for good reason. We want to cover these cases in enough detail that doing research for GrindHaus and everything else we have going in our personal lives, plus having to do research for a weekly serial killer episode, would literally be too much for 1 week.
It's too much of a workload right now. That might change in the future, say 3 months, 6 months. We're not going to make any promises. It might stay at every 2 weeks, but we, because we still got to try to make special Patreon stuff for people because we want people to join our Patreon. There's a lot of stuff we have to work out, and for right now, it's just easier to do it every 2 weeks. And I'm sorry if that affects some people, but we want to give you the best content, though.
Exactly. The content we put out when we put it out will be better because we now had the time, you know what I mean, to do the research, and we're not pressed for time. We're not on a deadline trying to make sure we do this by a certain, you know what I mean? Also, we're working on the video podcast, and honestly, I feel like that would be our number one priority right now. Is obviously we'll always have the audio podcast, just like you've been listening to.
Well, we got our video podcast. We're working on doing maybe some bingo nights with people. Like, this would all be like live streamed. like trivia nights where you can see us and interact with us. So it's all under the same video podcasting role, even if it's not the actual video podcast, but it's all under the same umbrella.
Right. And we want to be able to offer the video of what you hear when you listen to our podcast. So if you actually want to see us on screen and we'll put up different graphics and this and that, but we're working on that.
Yeah, so you can see me roll my eyes when Gray talks, the usual stuff.
Yeah, you might see me nod off when, Wolfman's describing a 40-minute scene from Killer Clowns.
Exactly, yeah, I mean, it's possible. You never know, one of us might be picking her nose. You can see my dog try to attack me on mic, and actually in video this time, instead of just hearing the mic bang around. Tries to jump up and give me hugs and eat my headset, because he likes to try to pull it off my head for some reason.
Yeah, see, I'd be afraid that, because my dog, she doesn't chew wires, but, like, if she's ready to play, whatever you're, like, have on you or near you, like, that's the toy. So if I'm walking out of my room and I'm holding, like, a hamper full of clothes, that hamper is now a toy, and she'll, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, like, he doesn't try to pull off as a toy. He wants to jump up and, like, lick me and whatever, so he just tries to push him off my head to get him out of the way.
Collateral damage.
He's like, what are these? Get out of here! I want to like lick your ear or whatever. I want to smell your hair, because he's just weird, like he's just sniffing around. Dude. Yeah,
my dog, it's weird. I don't know her infatuation with ears and like behind the ears and stuff. I don't know if it's like saltier than the rest of your face, but yeah, she'll go right for the ear.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah. It's a learning process, and we just want to give our audience enough content that, regardless if there's a quarantine or not, because when things do go back to normal, we still want you guys to be able to enjoy us, just like a night at home relaxing, or, you're at the gym working out, or, whatever. And if that means audio, then we'll have audio. If you want video, that's what we're working on. So we'll have it,
Just want all the options for everything. We're greedy.
Yeah,
we want to provide everything and anything we can do. It's not really greedy. It's like the wrong word, but
no,
you know what I mean.
Look, greed's not a bad thing.
No, yeah, we don't mean it in a bad way there.
Yeah, not overly greedy. Yeah. To be honest with you, and we've talked about this, and a lot of people will not bring this subject up, especially like YouTubers and stuff. When it comes to money, if we made money to cover like tickets to go to like a horror convention or like a drive-in movie theater, like that would be awesome. I mean, yeah, if we can make this our jobs, like an actual career, and make enough a year that we could just do this all the time, that would be fucking great. That's like my dream.
That'd be pretty amazing. But yeah, that's not why I do this. I'm doing this because I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah, and I like meeting people. Yeah, and I like meeting people who like the same stuff as us and having the conversations and the interactions. It's like this little family, you know what I mean? It's cool. I do
know what you mean.
I'm happy. I'm happy I'm doing this. And I'm like, me and Wolfman, like, we're friends outside of this, and it's cool because, like, we'll talk in the middle of the week, even if we're not recording. We'll just bullshit, and like 2 or 3 hours pass, and it's like, man, we could have recorded that. Mm-hmm. And it's not, we're not reviewing a movie. We're not talking about a serial killer. Sometimes, like, we just got done talking about wrestling for like 40 minutes, and like, it's fun.
Well, like we had our one test stream where we had a couple of people come in and just chatting with us, and we were talking movies, but not really too crazy. And that was one of my favorite things we did.
Yeah. Oh, and like my friend Mike.
Yeah, Mike came in, and there was like 2 other people like popped in. Yep. And we just all just kind of chatted. Mike was asking like random questions, and it almost was like an AMA in a way.
Yeah.
And like, it was just a lot of fun. I was dicking around playing games, and
like I said, when we were talking to Mike, I was like, he might have a movie collection comparable to yours. So he's bringing up all these like obscure movies and stuff like that that we're into, and obviously we're always looking for new stuff too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
And I started grabbing box covers, and we're showing like, oh look, I got this version of this movie, and I got this version of that one, and yeah. And he's like, oh, Gray's like, I got that version, but I don't open it because it's like a collector's version, and mine's open because I had no idea. Like,
yeah. Or like mine has a documentary on it, but that version doesn't. But that one also has a good documentary. It's just not the same one.
But it's like the same box cover. It's weird how like just the little nuances,
I find it interesting.
Yeah, it's like stupid movie nerd things, I guess.
But see, it's not stupid. It is nerd, but
you know what I don't literally mean stupid, but you know what I mean. Like just
I could, other people would be like, kind of like, oh, well, what does it matter? You guys have the movie. It's like, well, yeah, anyone can have the movie. It's about the extras.
Pretty much.
Today we are talking about a national fucking treasure.
Clint Howard.
Clint Howard. Fuck Ron Howard.
Clint Howard's brother's so much better.
Wait, Clint Howard's brother?
No. I meant Clint Howard as a brother is so much better.
Oh,
I
yeah.
misspoke.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
If you're not familiar with Clint Howard, you've definitely seen a movie with Clint Howard in it, whether you realize it or not.
He has a pretty distinguishable face. His actually brother's starting to look more like him now than he ever did, because his brother was always considered like the handsome one.
Which is crazy.
No, but I mean, back in the day, he wasn't an ugly guy. You know what I mean? But Clint still kind of looked like that, like he does now.
He's
you know what I mean?
He has looked the same for like 30 years.
Yeah. He was that kid that's probably had a receding hairline since he was 14.
Yeah, that's
odd shaped head,
Yeah, his eyes are kind of buggy a little bit. If I said to you, what is the first movie
syndrome?
I mean, yeah. Yeah. What is the first movie you think of when I say Clint Howard?
The Wraith.
The Wraith?
Yeah.
Not familiar with that one.
Charlie Sheen, Lara Flynn Boyle.
Okay.
Clint Howard, obviously. God damn it. I can't think of his name now. Fucking Shitter's Full from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Randy Quaid.
Oh, Randy Quaid, yeah.
Randy Quaid. So, little quick short of the movie, since you're not familiar with it. Charlie Sheen was someone else in another life, and he was murdered by this gang of car racers. This is like a 1986 movie-ish.
Okay.
He comes back as now Charlie Sheen looking, you know what I mean? But he's like still the same person, and he's a wraith. A wraith is like a vengeful spirit, basically, and he takes his guys out one by one in his futuristic supercar. It's this fucking... Well, I mean, we'll probably end up covering it at some point in time. I just can't believe you've never seen it. It's terribly amazing, but also kind of amazing at the same time. And the fucked up part is the main bad guy in the movie, he ended up going on to direct The Notebook. It's just it's totally random.
Oh, I know his name. It's funny.
His name's Packard Walsh in the movie. I just don't remember his real name, like off the top of my hand.
Yeah, because that guy's actually directed other stuff.
Yeah. It's just funny.
That is so weird.
But that's the first movie that comes to my mind when I hear Clint Howard.
Nick Cassavetes. Right?
Yeah, probably. It's most likely it.
Let me see. Yeah, he did The Notebook. He did John Q. She's So Lovely. Mm-hmm. And he's actually got a whole bunch of stuff announced or pre-production. He's doing the remake of Roadhouse he's directing.
Supposedly. We'll see how that...
Wow.
But supposedly, originally that was supposed to star Ronda Rousey as Patrick Swayze's role. I don't know if it's still... Yeah, exactly. I'm like, whatever, fucking ruin a fucking movie.
But you know what? I will say, like, she's acted in a few things before, but then when she joined WWE, she actually has gotten better as an actor, compared to, you know what I mean?
She just
like,
annoys the shit out of me.
Well, she's a bitch for sure.
I didn't say that. It's just her face just annoys me. She's super talented. I wish she stuck with UFC and didn't let it get to her head because she had too many yes people around her and actually got back to training. But she's making her money in WWE.
She also had one of the most like notorious coaches ever. I don't even want to get into that, but yeah, that guy's a dick. You know what movie I think about when I think Clint Howard? And it's not even a massive role.
Carnosaur?
No, but that's a great movie.
Silent Night, Deadly Night 4? Silent Night, Deadly Night 5?
Actually, it's funny. I was gonna say 4, but that's even later because when I watched that, Austin Powers,
Tango and Cash. I'm sorry, I just keep naming random.
Not a fan.
Movies. Okay.
Yeah, Austin Powers. Remember like when they're doing that little segment like in the movie when the rocket ship's on the screen and everyone's looking, oh my God, look at the size of that. Johnson, have you seen you know what I mean? Like that.
I don't remember those movies. I've seen them like once. I'm not like, they're funny, but I'm not one of those people that's gone back and watched them a bunch of times.
Well, he was in the first and the second one.
Yeah, but I couldn't place
and the third. Yeah. Okay. But
I thought you were going to say Cocoon or Splash. Maybe Night Shift.
No. I'm saying the first time I ever saw him, like in a memorable role, was those movies.
I'm just naming movies on his IMDb just as jokes.
Right. Yeah. I understand. But I will say what I now know him for the most is Silent Night, Deadly Night 4. His character. If you haven't seen the movie, it's literally like when it turns into an anthology, like at least 1, 2, and 3 are kind of tied together, where 4 and 5 go into like this whole different, like nothing to do with Silent Night, Deadly Night, basically. I don't remember his character too much in part 5, but I know in part 4, he's like a hobo and like he eats trash and like, it's just.
I didn't even know there was a 5 until I looked at his fucking, his movie.
Can I tell you something?
Now. I had no clue.
So, when the original Silent Night, Deadly Night came out in the 80s, this big uproar about, Christmas and, Santa's the killer and what's wrong with you. And Mickey Rooney, of all people, said, these assholes should be chased out of Hollywood. Guess who is the star of Silent Night, Deadly Night 5? Mickey Rooney. Yeah. So I guess his standpoint had changed over the years for him enough to have a starring role in the movie that he was saying was garbage.
He would be good in like a remake of like Motel Hell. Not Mickey Rooney. I'm still talking about Clint
Howard.
Yeah. I can see him doing that. But he's just in so many movies. Yeah. He's Polish Sure Is Dead, House of the Dead, some of the newer ones. Like he's just I'm just saying there's just so many.
No, I know.
There's just countless movies. I mean, he was in the 2007 Halloween. I mean, people have seen his face somewhere. He's in like regular movies. It's not just whatever. He's fucking Creepy Rodney and My Name Is Earl.
Yeah,
you've ever seen that TV series? Like,
yep, Jason Lee.
That is one of my favorite series of all time, by the way. I love that show. I really sad that they canceled it.
Yeah,
really
it's
sad.
Unfortunate. Yeah,
it'd be really fun to have it back.
Yeah, Jason. Oh well, did you see like they recently came out with Reno 911 again?
No, I wasn't a big fan of it when it was out. I like certain things about it later in life, but it wasn't.
I actually watched the newest episode, and most of the people came back, not all, and it was actually a really good episode. So I'm glad when things make the comeback, or and I actually think My Name Is Earl eventually will be one of those shows because it's been way more appreciated after it's been off the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm holding out faith.
Well, with his brother Randy, the actor that plays him, losing a bunch of weight and getting jacked now, it'd be actually funnier.
Oh, it'd be hilarious.
In there, it's like new jacked Randy.
What's his name? What's that guy? Ethan Suplee, I think.
Suplee, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, when that in American History X, his character is fucking hilarious. I know he's not supposed to be, but yeah, he is. But back to Clint Howard, you've definitely seen his face. If you've watched the movie or TV show anytime in the last 20 years, you know who he is.
Yeah, pretty much you should know exactly who he is, especially if you've seen it.
Can I tell you,
what
this movie felt like? It felt like the Goosebumps or the fucking not Tales from the Crypt, the fucking Are You Afraid of the Dark? The way that this movie presents itself, it definitely looks low budget, especially for the time that it came out. And
it had about a $2 million budget estimated, and it was released direct to video.
Right, so it never had actual theater time and stuff. And just the way that it looks, the quality of it, it looks very much like it could have been an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps. Not very cinematically shot. That even, and it even had that kind of feel in the beginning because it wasn't extremely graphic.
Now, there is a thing about this. Originally, they tried to make this movie PG-13, so that might be why you get that feeling that it's like a Goosebumps or Afraid of the Dark kind of, maybe even like a Tales from the Dark Side, like sort of.
But then for some reason, like 2/3 of the way through the movie, it's like the director didn't take his Adderall that day. It was like, you know what? I really just want to go over the fucking moon with this. And it turns into this beautifully campy horror movie. And I actually appreciate this movie for what it is.
I actually like the way it's shot, the way it looks. Like certain low budget movies now, when they film them, they don't put enough into like post production. Granted, a lot of these movies look the way they do because it was all filmed on 35 millimeter, and it gives it like a certain look to it, where digital is like super clear and whatever. But being it's such a low budget movie, it actually helps it away. It doesn't like some of the effects look better.
Yeah,
in a way, like just like the screen's just kind of got that tiny little bit of fuzz, maybe production value. To me, I call it when movies look like movies compared to if you filmed them like with your phone or something, where they're like super clear. There's no like effects. Oh, excuse me. There's no effects on it and whatnot. Yeah, it just has this nostalgicness to it.
If you ever watch like an episode of Buffy or X-Files, how they were TV shows, but they almost had this little kind of like cinematic feel to it. That's what I can feel. That's why I feel like this movie easily could have been a TV show or whatever. Edited horribly
for the most part. Now, speaking of that though, apparently there is a different version of this movie that has. So the DVD by Mill Creek Entertainment has a runtime of 23 minutes and 41 seconds, which is heavily edited. There's a 3 minutes plus that have been removed, which includes lots of death scenes or just probably added to them to make everything look better.
Right.
The Blu-ray DVD released by Vinegar Syndrome is the unedited hour and 26 minute and change version. So I don't know which is up on the streaming sites.
The one that I watched was an hour and I think 23 minutes.
So we got the edited version.
Right, yeah.
I didn't pay attention to the runtime when I watched mine on Tubi, because this is on Tubi, by the way, for anyone that wants to know.
For free,
yes, and you can find versions of it on YouTube also. And there also is a Riff Tracks version of this movie, which if anyone knows what Riff Tracks is or doesn't know, it's like Mystery Science Theater 3000 without the characters. It's the same guys. They just don't have the rights to that name anymore. Unfortunately. They just moved on to whatever, but they have Riff Tracks and they have a whole massive library, and they also have a Twitch channel. Yeah, I mean we're not sponsored by anything, but Riff Tracks is awesome. They have a Twitch channel called Riff Tracks that you can go on it, and they play their movies 24/7.
Yep.
So you can
and
just
they
go in there and
also
watch them.
have,
Obviously,
if
it'll
you have-
edited because you can't have nudity or anything in there. But
right now, if you have a Vizio TV, there's an actual internet style TV channels on Vizios that if you hit their like. It's not Chromecast, but it's owned by Vizio, and they actually have maybe about 20 or 25 of their own channels that show their own stuff. Riff Tracks has their own channel.
ooh, I did not know that.
Yes, because I knew about Riff Tracks before because of Mystery Science Theater, and our friend Mike is a huge fan of Riff Tracks, and I was just like hitting buttons and going through different channels when I got this TV. Actually, it was a Samsung. Sorry, it was my Samsung TV. And I saw it, and I was like, what's this? And I was like, oh, cool, they're doing an episode of Riff Tracks. And then I looked, and all the other episodes coming up were all Riff Tracks. And I'm like, yo, I hit the jackpot. So if you have a Samsung
awesome.
TV, it is. It really is. I'm definitely happy those guys are finding the success without Mystery Science Theater. It's unfortunate that they can't have the name. But I don't think they need it at this point. I think they're doing well without
They
it.
are. I don't know what happened. I don't care to know what happened as of right this second. All I know is they're still producing stuff. And obviously I knew about Mr. Science Theater first. And then it ended for a long time. But apparently they were doing Riff Tracks for a long time. I just didn't know. But that was just me being a kid. It was an older show. And then it had it came back and they did some of the stuff. But I think the show is still sort of going. But they're not on it anymore. It's like I don't know. I'd have to look
so they're
into it
trying to
more.
redo it without them.
Yeah, I think because they did a reboot with them. It didn't last very long, but I think it's sort of still going. I don't 100% know.
Yeah.
After I found Riff Tracks, I didn't even bother. Riff Tracks is just better.
It is.
It's better. There's some nostalgia to the old Mystery Science Theater with some of the characters, but the rebooted version was just extra annoying.
Yeah, and Riff Tracks, it feels more polished because they don't have to stay to the guidelines of characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And my favorite. Wait, real quick. What is your favorite Riff Tracks?
Oh, I honestly don't have one. I wish I can give you. I just watch the Twitch channel a lot. I can't.
So
Half of the time I don't even know the names of what they are because you just watch them.
yeah, it's not necessarily about the movie itself.
But in Twitch, you have people chatting on the side also, so it's extra funny sometimes.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to check out their Twitch channel for sure. Obviously, if you don't know, they do a version of Pod People, and it was actually, I saw the Cinema Snobs review of Pod People, and he said in his review, if you've not seen the Riff Tracks episode, pause this video and go watch it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'll finish this, but then I'll go watch it. And it was and is my favorite Riff Tracks of all time. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I have to check that one out. I have to try to search for that one.
Yeah, so definitely check them out. And also, like, while we're plugging a few people, I do want to just do a quick shout out to Horror Punks USA, this group based out of Philly. Basically, they're an entertainment company. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. I'll have an interview with the founder, Ronan, on our next episode of GrindHaus Radio. But basically, they have bands under their own label. They put on their own shows. They release their own music. They do their own photography and cinematography. Sometimes they just have like events where they have like, performers and not just music related, like, and it's the scene of just, if you like horror movies or you like anything related to that, and you like punk and metal and psychobilly and just all these great music genres, it's like the family that is like an extended family. So definitely check out Horror Punks USA. Definitely some cool guys over there. Introduced me to a lot of cool bands. Very happy to be working with them. In any way, shape, or form. And they're, tossing our name out there too. So very thankful for that as well.
Very appreciative. Thank you, guys.
Yep. So what do we know about the director?
All right. Well, the first Ice Cream Man was made in 1995. In case anyone needs to know the year, we haven't covered that at all. Went over the runtime. It averages between 4 and 5 stars usually on things, which isn't really the greatest. But I like it. I think it's a shittily awesome movie in general. It's just terrible and good for all the right reasons. All right, so now we're going to get into the director here, and that is funny because it was directed as as Norman Epstein, but that was a fake name that he used because his real name is Paul Norman. And this is the only movie he's technically directed. Everything else he's directed were pornos. And he's been directing porn since 1985. So this movie came out in 95. So he had 10 years of porn under his belt before he directed this. And he stopped directing porn in 2000. So he didn't really direct much after.
No, but he did go back to the wheel after this movie for a few years.
But he's got 126 fucking directed porn movie. 125. Sorry, that number 126 is technically this movie.
Ice cream, man. Yeah. Thank God this isn't a porno.
No, thank God. His wife is actually in one of the scenes briefly where Tuna is being chased by the ice cream man, and she grabs the ice cream man and is talking about the lipstick. That's the guy's wife at the time, and she's a porn star, and they changed her name to put it in there. That's just a little
no way
on the movie. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna. I don't know. For some reason, I wasn't gonna mention it, so I didn't copy her name down, but I just did. So
yeah, that's
there you
cool.
go. Secret. Go find out who she is.
Now, in 1990 and 1991, he actually won the AVN Award for Best Director.
I can honestly say I've never seen any of his work, but it doesn't mean any of it's not good.
Well, I guess he had a movie series called By and Beyond.
Yeah.
And
I saw that. There's like a bunch of them.
Oh, you saw the movie? How was it?
No,
I know.
Yeah. He has some I do want to watch. I'm going to read off a couple of these names in a second, though.
By and Beyond 3 and By and Beyond 4, made in 1990 and 1991. He got Best Director for Bisexual Video. And then in 1998, he was inducted into the AVN Hall of Fame, which, that's quite an honor, for people in the porn industry.
Hey, man, they're still directors. Some of those movies are pretty shitty, but they're still directors, and he's making money, so go him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. He actually started his career making strictly bisexual porn. Basically, no boundaries. You're grabbing at hands full of
women,
flesh.
Whatever.
Yep. Good for him.
Just for the shits and laughs, I would actually like to watch some of these because he has parts 1, 2, and 3. Edward Penis Hands.
Yep.
I just not like I'm gonna sit through the whole thing and watch that, and he has like a couple of different Three Musketeers.
Wait, have you never seen
Notre Dame?
Have you never seen Edward Penis Hands?
I have not seen Edward Penis Hands.
Oh my God! Okay,
you have. So yeah, I'm just saying you have because it's one of his things he directed. So obviously you've seen some of his directed movies.
Yeah,
and you might not have realized it till now.
Well, honestly, when you're watching porn, unless you're like a porn connoisseur, you're not really thinking about who directed this. Unless
something
it's
like that, I want to know who directed it. Okay, because that's hilarious. That person deserves a high five. Maybe like an Air Demolition Man high five, where I don't actually touch his hand. But,
yeah, like a fist, like an elbow bump.
Not even. I don't know if I want to touch any of his skin. I don't.
I know the actor who played Edward. His name is no. His name is Sicky Nix. Nikki Sixx.
I know, yeah,
kind of.
I got it.
Yeah.
It's not that funny, but I got it.
Basically, how the movie goes, I'm not going to go into full detail, but like a door-to-door dildo woman, like she sells dildos. She comes across Edward, and then, she discovers him, and basically, shenanigans ensue. She brings him home.
Did he have scissors on his hands, and then she put dildos over him to cover him, or what was the deal?
Nope.
Did he already have dildos on his hands?
Though they're penis hands.
Yeah, that's what I mean here. So yeah, but they were probably dildos though, right?
Well, I mean, obviously they couldn't afford real penises to make the movie, but I think they're supposed to be real penises.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's even funnier.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe that'll be a Patreon exclusive. That way we don't get fucking flagged for reviewing a porno. Oh man. Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't. That would actually be a pretty cool Patreon thing. Only like once a month, just do like a random porn review because like there's so many horror porn like knockoffs.
Like evil head, triple exorcist, repenetrator, all those.
I mean, you seem to know a few already, so
I do. They laugh. I've seen some of them. They're hilarious.
I think, and you know what? Back in the day,
Burning Angel makes them. They're like the big ones with the horror.
Yeah. Back in the day, a lot of the parody videos were a lot better. There's a company out there, I think they're called Wood Rocket or Wooden Rocket, and their whole gimmick is basically they take the name of the title that they're doing, and then they just put triple X parody after it, so it'll be like Rugrats, a triple X parody, Fast and the Furious, a triple X parody. You know what I mean? It's not original, and it's not, but back, years ago, it was different. It was funny. It was creative. It was clever.
Yeah, now they're just not creative. They're just literally just dressed up in costumes and banging in costume, and there's no dialogue. Like some of these other ones had dialogue, and it was hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to think, like in the Rugrats one, they actually say, "Oh, we're not actually babies. We're just turned on by dressing like baby." Like they wanted to make sure everybody. Yeah, they wanted to make sure they told everyone in the movie, like, "Hey, we're not portraying children in this movie." You know what I mean? So there's that. There's the human sexipede, which obviously,
yeah. I say we change topics, start talking about the movie again.
Yeah,
it's too much.
But
it's going too far.
If that is something that you guys would want on Patreon, let us know, and we'll check it out. Oh boy.
You just put a penis in your mouth.
A wet dream on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Texas Vibrator Massacre.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got this.
All right. So let's talk about a couple more of the actors in here. So we have Andy McAfee is her name. She played Heather Langley. There is 4 kids in the movie. They're kind of like your 80s kids crime solver type. You know what I mean? It's like it's even to this day. Yeah, it's a trope that they still use to this day.
Yep.
Especially in 80s based movies. So there's 4 kids technically, even though there's only 3 of them throughout most of the movie. We're going to get into that as we get through, but there's her. She is like 41ish went up, but it's kind of funny because she looks like she's like 12, but she was really like 16 or so, or 17 when this was made. It's kind of weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she was born in 79, so she's a couple years older than I am.
Right.
So this was in 95. So, if I was 14 in 95 and she's a couple years older than me, she's like 16.
Yeah, that's weird. I would have never guessed.
Because she wasn't in, like, she's in a bunch of stuff. She was in a couple years, probably as like someone's daughter in Baywatch, and she's does some voices for a Tom and Jerry movie. I mean, she's got 88 credits, but a lot of her stuff is voice acting in video games and cartoons. Like she's done Final Fantasy 13 2, Mortal Kombat X, or Mortal Kombat 10, depending on what you want to call it, Land Before Time, like a bunch of them. I mean, like there's 13, 12. She's the Sopranos game, Road to Respect, Tony Hawk Project 8, Saints Row, Mass Effect. I mean, EverQuest 2, Spyro, Hey Arnold.
She did Yeah, she was Phoebe in Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool because that was a reoccurring character. So she was on there. She was on Recess. If our younger audience remembers Recess, she was in quite a few episodes of that. So that's pretty cool.
There's like a ton in here, and it's just like some of these people don't get their the respect that they deserve. Like I just wanted to give a shout out to her because she does a lot of stuff, and it's behind the scenes stuff or voice acting, and it's pretty cool. It's crazy how like you see this little kid in something, and she grew up to be kind of like a popular voice actor for cartoons and video games and stuff. It's pretty cool.
And they do deserve the respect.
Yeah.
I know that there is this whole underground fandom for voice actors, but like a lot of them say, "Oh, well, Mark Hamill," and Mark Hamill is a voice acting legend, but he's also an actor. He was Luke Skywalker and stuff like that.
It's arguably the best Joker.
Arguably the best Joker. But that's not like the only thing that he's ever done.
No. I'm just saying, like you talk about voice acting, like you know what I mean, because it's a cartoon,
right?
He doesn't get the recognition for him playing the Joker, which is to a certain extent the most realistic Joker when you see the cartoons that he's portrayed in. Like he's phenomenal.
Yep, and he's been doing it consistently,
long time. He's longest Joker run as anyone.
So respect the voice actors is what we're trying to say. So she was she was older than, but you know what? She was older than the character that she played, which a lot of times when portraying kids, that happens. They want to get a little bit older. They say that they can get a little bit better of what's it called? Better of a performance from the older kids.
But it's just weird. I mean? She looked very young and saw all the kids. It was just weird to see like that she was actually older than she was.
Right.
It just was.
Now
the next. Well, I'm just going to list a couple of them here, and then I know we'll get into like more majors. There is Justin Isfield. He was Johnny.
Yep.
He was kind of like, now when you look at these kids, they're as 90s as it gets. The way they dress them, the families, like. The styles were fucking god awful terrible. It was so bad. I'm glad I didn't like dress like any of these people that I remember. But this kid actually grew up to be kind of nobody. It's kind of funny, but he has a kind of iconic part in the American Pie movies. He is MILF guy #1.
Yep, and he's been in all of them.
He's been pretty much all of them. Yep.
I mean, all the good one, not like your band camp and your,
Well, he was in band camp.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was in band camp. He was in Reunion. He was in Wedding Part 2, Part 1. He wasn't in the Naked Mile. And
that's the one I'm talking about. Reunion.
And I think there was like Frat House or something, whatever. There was American Pie.
Yeah, because Reunion.
Because those movies follow the Stifler brothers.
Right. Reunion and Wedding are actual in canon with the first and second one.
Correct.
They have all the original cast and stuff, and he was in all of those as well. So, hey, good for him,
Yeah, it's just funny because he's, it was like him and, was it the Asian kid? They were like, Harold. Yeah, it's like, Harold, yeah.
Yeah, Harold, yep.
It's just funny. So, like, this little kid turned into this guy.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
But you know what? Good for him. Yeah. Damn right.
So now we have one of the cops. It was Detective Maldwin, and he's Lee Majors the second. He is Lee Majors' son, which is kind of funny because Lee Majors is a
super
iconic actor in like he was a $1 Million Man. He was in just countless movies.
Oh, westerns, like
I mean,
huge Western star.
Yeah, he was in Scrooged. I mean, he's still in stuff today. He was in Asher's The Evil Dead in the series. He was his dad. He was Brock Williams. He was Ash's dad. So that's a big. I mean, he's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just one of those iconic figures. And he was in. So he was the Bionic Man. So he was in the 70s. He was. Well, it was a $6 Million Man, but he was Colonel Steve Austin. So then there was the Bionic Woman. He was in that because it was kind of a spin-off. So they had the man and then they had the woman version in the 70s. And they hold up, but they don't. But it was just iconic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well known. Those guys. Yeah. So his son really did nothing, but his son plays like one of the two like macho, handsome type cops that are always cast in like these movies, especially in the 90s. You know, which is funny. So that brings us to.
I want to mention one actress if I can.
Yeah.
Olivia Hussey. I think it's actually Hussey. Hussey.
Okay.
She plays Nurse Wharton in this movie. Now, I just want to say, real quick, this actress was actually in the movie Black Christmas, which some people consider one of the first slasher movies, even before Halloween, because it came out in 1974. She wasn't
old? I didn't realize it was that old.
I know.
I love that movie. I fucking love that movie. It's so good.
Dude, can you believe
Don't watch the remakes. They're trash.
No, I saw it already. It's awful.
No, I'm telling the people. Like, just go watch the original. Enjoy it for what it is. It's very good.
But didn't you think, though, that movie was like 78 or 79?
I thought it was, I could have swore it was like 77, but it could be older.
It's 74.
Yeah, 74. Yep. So it could theoretically be one of the first slasher movies.
I mean, as long as you don't put what's his name? Leatherface. If you don't think Leatherface is a slasher, which I don't think he is, he's a monster. This was before Halloween.
He's considered a slasher in kind of like slasher movie canon, but he's not really a slasher. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
He's considered up there with like Jason and Freddy and all those guys.
He's in the big five.
Yeah, but he's not really a slasher. Yeah,
right. It's funny because this actress was born in 1951. So in 1995, she was 44 years old, and the character that she plays is like an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And when I first saw this movie, the two things that I remember seeing were that kid's wearing a fat suit.
Yeah, well, I was going to get into that. Yeah.
Well, that was one. And then, but the big one, the more noticeable one, in my opinion, is this lady has to be in her late 30s.
You're like this is the hottest 80-year-old you've ever seen because she had a bad like makeup and hair the way they tried to do it. And then they show her actually looking normal in the flashback scenes later.
And she looks the same.
She looks a little younger, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like
she's not wearing the glasses.
Yeah.
And like, but basically it's like they put a babushka on her and then they put glasses on her. It's like, boom, you're 80.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
I think they messed with her hair a tiny bit. They might have gave her a wig.
Right.
And like, or sprayed something because something didn't look right with her hairline. So I think they gave her a wig to go over her normal long black hair as it was. And then like it was like maybe dyed or frosted or something to give it like that, like just a tint of gray. It wasn't like gray, but you know what I mean? Like just to make her look older, and it just looked wrong. They literally probably could have sprayed something in her hair or something that would have done the same effect without putting a wig on her. There's just something didn't look right. And
it's blatantly obvious because 90% of this movie, she plays a character who is supposed to be older. You know what I mean? That flashback, you do see her when she's younger, but most of the movie she plays this older character, and then she tries to like old up her voice a little bit, like, oh, you rapscallion, you. It's like, lady, come on. Like, why wouldn't you just hire an older woman?
It's just budget, man. No budget. They just had her play the same role, just did really poor. It's kind of weird because of like we're gonna get like I thought the effects were pretty good in this movie for the most part.
For the most part,
for the practical effects were pretty good for the most part. The body parts and stuff for the most part, you know. And then they did such a bad job on her, and then they dressed Tuna up as.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, they basically stuffed a pillow under this kid's shirt to make him like a fat kid, but he wasn't fat. Like, why couldn't they just?
Hold on.
Well, it plays into Tuna. He's JoJo Adams. He's nobody.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So he literally he was in nothing else really.
They don't have a picture for him. Like I can look at it right now and see what he did.
Oh, Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves.
Yeah, Time Well Spent. Real Monsters.
Bigfoot.
Voice.
Yeah.
So he did really nothing.
Yeah. But he wasn't a heavyset kid.
No,
at all.
he was like a normal kid. I mean, they made him heavyset because of the stereotype of like every group had to have the fat kid, which would have been us.
Yeah,
back then.
You have to have the fat kid,
and he's got to be slow. Yeah, you got to have the extra nerd, the sporty girl. Like
he'll eat anything. He's always hungry. Yeah.
You know, which it plays into the movie. You know, like the way but they could have just maybe gave him asthma instead or something to make him slower. You know, instead of trying to fake fat him. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
Or they could have just hired a fat kid. You know, fat kids need work too.
Yeah, I mean, he probably knew someone. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, it's blatantly obvious when you see him on. Like, it's not even like they just gave him a belly. It's like a bed pillow. It goes up to his like shoulders.
So he wears a lot of exercise shirts, and they literally just stuff the pillow in him. So he looks like these giant bitch tits, like whatever, you know, and. It just doesn't look right. You're just like, what is like? They really tried to put a fat suit on this like 13-year-old kid.
No, but not even a fat suit, because a fat suit at least would be somewhat
They just literally
realistic.
stuff the fucking pillow under there.
Like
normal size arms, normal size face, normal size legs, just like a pillow stuffed in his shirt, and just the front of the shirt. It wasn't like
nothing in the pants, nothing like Like, if we made a horror movie right now, we need someone who was, like, really fat, and we would probably put a pillow under our shirt. We would actually probably make it look a little better. Like, that's how bad this shit was. But he's my favorite character in this movie, besides the Ice Cream Man.
Yeah. All right, so then the last actor I want to mention, because he's kind of iconic actor, is Jan Michael Vincent. He was the other cop. He's Detective Gifford.
Of course.
If you don't know who he is... He is dead now, unfortunately. He passed away last year on February 10th. But he was supposed to be the next it guy in the 80s. He was supposed to be the next heartthrob, handsome action guy, you know, plus, you know, just ladies' man in general. But, you know, alcohol and booze sidelined his career. But he was one of the main actors in Airwolf. I don't know about you, but Airwolf was fucking huge from my childhood. It was amazing. He is in the original Mechanic with Charles Bronson.
Okay.
They did that remake later with the transporter guy, Jason Statham. But this one, it was way better, I believe. I think it is. It's just it's from the 70s. I'll give the exact year in a second here. He's just done a ton of stuff. He's just an iconic 1972. So that was the original. Had a pretty good cast. It's a Charles Bronson movie. Can't usually go wrong with Charles Bronson movies, especially in the 70s.
Oh my God, he was in Alienator.
Yeah.
Yo,
he did some really shitty movies, and then his face started getting fucked up because of the booze and the alcohol, and I think he had some bad plastic surgery on top of it. So it like,
oh God,
so he just got stuck in all these like shit movies, and he was a horrible drunk. So you can tell, like, in this, I think he was, like, pretty bad still. So he had a minimal role in here, but he wasn't as fucked up as he was in other movies, but they kept the glasses on him throughout the whole movie, very minimal role. But he's, like, in it by name, you know? He was, like, a big name to some people still.
Yeah, it was passable.
Yeah.
Now, he was also in Extro 2. I've never seen Extro 2, but I saw Extro. And if that piece of shit had a sequel, I can only imagine how bad it is.
It sounds familiar. Maybe I've seen so many bad movies, like, so if I saw it, I'd probably...
I'll send you a link, because Extro has to be on YouTube, and it's awful. God, how did they get sequels?
I don't know.
That's so weird.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to mention him. I mean, like I said, he's dead. Unfortunately, you know, he had a rough history. He did some pretty quality movies, some real fucking shitty ones also at the same time. But he was a good actor overall. It's just a shame that drugs and alcohol ruined his career. It could have been so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. It sucks, because that time of the 80s pulled a lot of actors out of their prime. and it's sad to say, what could have been. But we have the movies to go back and, definitely check out.
Like I said, he still acted up until 70, died at age 73. So, I mean, he was still able to put somewhat of a career in, but it could have been some, you know what I mean? He's one of the huge what ifs in Hollywood,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then
Cool.
for baseball fans, there's Steve Garvey played one of the kids' fathers, and he was a Dodger. And apparently he worked one day on set, and he spent most of his time signing baseballs for people.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he was one of the most dependable Major League Baseball players in the 70s and 80s. Garvey was also a pretty good football player in his college days at Michigan State. He was drafted by the Dodgers and began playing for them in 1969, but had to wait more than 4 years to become a regular player. So yeah, he was. He was a Dodger.
We forgot someone.
Who?
David Warner. He played the father of the girl, and he had like the British accent, the pastor.
Yeah, Reverend Langley.
Yeah, so he was in the 6th Star Trek movie. He was in Tron. He was in Titanic. And if you go down his IMDb, it looked like he was Planet of the Apes, that shitty Mark Wahlberg one.
Yeah, he's in a ton of stuff. I actually forgot. I didn't realize it was him. It didn't click on my brain who he was until I looked at his IMDb picture right now, like an older version of him.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he's in some TV series. There's a Batman Beyond as Ra's al Ghul's voice.
Scream 2.
Yeah,
The Last Leprechaun.
Yeah. He was in The Hunger. The Hunger was a pretty good series. It's from 1999. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's like this vampire-like series.
No.
It's pretty good.
What is it? Hunger?
It's called The Hunger, yeah.
The Hunger, okay. He was in Beastmaster 3.
Oh man, Beastmaster series can't not talk about them.
We might actually have to do that one day.
The Eye of Baraxis.
Oh my god! But yeah, this guy was acting forever. It looks like.
Oh
Good for him.
yeah. He's definitely I mean, you could look at his numbers. Like,
oh, he was in The Omen.
Yeah, he has 223 credits under his belt. Like I said, I didn't realize it was him. I just kind of looked over him. You're right. I did miss out on talking about him.
Watching the movie though, like hearing his accent when he talked, I kind of had that feeling like, oh well, this guy must have like stumbled on this. That you know what I mean? Like this like classically trained like method actor just shows up.
He could have been drunk through the whole filming. I mean, this all who knows? He didn't have to really act much to do what he did. He was barely in the movie. He just he had a couple scenes, but yeah. I mean, they had a couple quality actors. This guy is literally a quality actor.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Waxwork in 1988. It's a horror movie, which was remade with Paris Hilton later on.
The House of Wax?
Yeah, pretty sure Waxwork was that movie.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that. Well, I know there wasn't...
Yeah, it's called Waxwork. House of Wax is kind of like the remake of it.
Okay, cool. Shit, so I'm gonna have to watch that too, because I hated that piece of shit with Paris Hilton.
Yeah, a wax museum owner uses horror exhibits to unleash evil on the world.
Man, I mean, look,
He was a Waxwork man. He was the main villain.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah. We eventually we will be taking requests from our Patreon. Like one of the things, if you become a member of Patreon, is you'll have the right for a vote for movies for us to go over. Obviously, we have enough material to do this for a very long time, you know, but it's still until our channel grows to a level where we have to have that.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just until we get to a larger size where we need the Patreon to take requests. As of right now, like we're still taking, requests. If someone wants to, us to check out a certain movie, just let us know. We'll talk about it.
Well, like I said, I think that's when we're doing some of our game nights when we get into it. We'll talk about that more another time when we start figuring out.
Yeah.
But I think the winners of our game nights, I think we'll let you guys pick movies and stuff like that, what we want to do.
Yeah.
So, like over oversee our order. But he was the voice of Nurgle in The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, one of my favorite cartoons of all time.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, this British guy. Yeah.
Every episode?
2001 to 2003. Yeah, there was only a couple seasons of it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's the voice of Nurgle. Yeah, that like little like black shape-shifting bad dude that was
Yeah. Yeah, man. Wow, that guy was in everything. God.
I had a Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy PS2 beat 'em up game, and I loaned it to someone because their kid wanted to play it, and I never got it back.
Fucking kids.
I know. He was like, I wanted it back one day, and he's like, it's a kid's game. He doesn't understand collecting this stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't understand. He was like, no, you're gonna take it away from my kid? I'm like, I loaned it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Like,
I can't believe he gave you shit over that.
Yeah. It was one of my best friends. He helped me out a lot, so I didn't like argue with him at the time. He's still a good dude. I just, you know.
Is he still your best friend?
No, I haven't talked to him in a long time. I mean, we chat here and there.
All right, so hey, if you hear this, we're gonna need that game back, okay?
I don't even know if he still has it. His kids are all grown up now too. It's crazy. I haven't seen.
Yeah, so they don't want it anymore.
It's crazy. I know. If I gotta rebuy that, it's like $50 or $60 now.
Oh yeah, because it probably wasn't even like a.
No, it's not. It's not a mass-produced PS2 game.
Yeah,
and I had a mint condition with like box and book and you know.
Well, that shit ain't gonna come back like that though.
No, I'm saying like if I were to rebuy a new one.
Oh yeah, you're buying a good one. Yeah. So this movie or whatever. Yeah. You mentioned a little bit earlier. Critics were not kind to this movie.
No, not at all.
Average is 4.2 or 42% score.
Between a 4 and a 5, like at most. Like, and that was it. Yeah, 4.2, 4.9 were a lot of them. That's why I just said 5. I just rounded it up. I was giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
But
it does have the cult following, and I think what makes that is Clint Howard's performance.
Oh, definitely, by far, it's definitely Clint Howard's performance. He's one of those
movie.
Yeah, he's just one of those iconic guys. He just is.
Like IMDb has a rating of 4.9, but if you go on allhorror.com, it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
So
this movie was supposed to be more of a spoof on the horror genre, like in an earlier draft, and I think some of that stayed in there, even though it was unintentional. Because this movie's funny unintentionally. It's listed as a comedy horror, but it's really not supposed to be.
Yeah,
like it's funny to the right person. It's not just like outright funny, but you know what I'm saying.
Like Tommy Wiseau years later said that The Room is a dark comedy. Oh yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, no, you tried to make like a serious dark drama, and that shit was just hilarious because you're terrible.
He was trying to do like an Oscar bait film, and he did just like the complete fucking opposite. It's like if you were to ask someone with a mental deficiency what their idea of like an award-winning movie is, and he's like, okay, I got it. Boom, here it is.
All right, so you want to get into a couple little more little tidbits on the movie before we get into Gore's Gore's kill of the week and...
There's a few things I do want to talk about.
So part of the cult, we went over the riff tracks thing. Joe Bob Briggs also hosted the film on TNT when it was shown on Monster Vision, and Clint Howard made an appearance discussing the film with Briggs, so that also helped.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love you, Joe Bob.
Yeah, Joe Bob's the man. If he ever hears this, fucking love that guy.
Yep.
This movie was sponsored in part by Converse Shoe Company, so many of the characters were Converse shoes, especially the classic Chuck Taylor All-Stars. And there's also an extraordinary number of shoe shots in this entire film, if you've noticed. There's something I didn't notice. I'm like, I didn't know this until I read about this. And I'm like, and now that I think about it, I'm like, there was a ton of like feet shots. I thought maybe the director was just a creeper, but it turned out it kind of was. So,
there is an actual plot point in the movie. When we discuss the movie, we'll actually talk about it. But the shoes make a... that blows my mind.
Clint Howard screamed and yelled at the top of his lungs while driving in a car every day to set in order to have a more gravelly voice where the role is Gregory. So how creepy is that? You're driving down the street, Clint Howard's yelling out the fucking window. Because he's just a creepy looking guy in general. That's just crazy.
Now, there's one scene specifically in the movie, though, where we'll talk about when we get there, but his voice is normal Clint Howard voice, and it kind of took me off guard.
Yeah, because he does have this like weird, creepy gravel. He really does. Like he has this super creeper voice in this movie. It's actually really well done. So kudos for him.
Screaming like
it's
a
not.
lunatic.
It's not easy. The scenes at the sanitarium were shot in an actual abandoned sanitarium in Pasadena, California. Moreover, the satanic drawings and the graffiti were already on the walls. They didn't have to add anything to it. That's funny.
That is crazy.
At the end of the movie when they're in that sanitarium.
Yeah. That would be a cool place to shoot. Yeah.
It would. That's a music video or something in that place. Yeah, that's definitely a cool place to shoot. I mean, it's probably either even worse shape now or demolished by now, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Dude, someone had to have bought that land. And now, obviously, the exterior shots are different than the interior shots because the exterior actually looked like a somewhat more recent building. But yeah, I'm guessing if a place looked like that in real life, someone had bought the land and demolished it. It's been 25 years.
It's been a good amount of time. That land is probably worth so much now. Yeah, they're developing everywhere.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Mashed potatoes were used as a substitute for ice cream in a lot of shots. You got to figure on hot. It's hot in California in most places, and shooting. They definitely looked like they shot in the warmer months and not in the colder months there. Even though you can get that look sometimes in some places, you don't realize it was filmed in the freezing cold, but but it's meant to be like summertime. I think they actually filmed in normal, but I mean it's ice cream. You don't want the ice cream was melting a lot already as it was, so using mashed potatoes is actually a pretty good idea, I guess.
They
made it look like ice cream in some. I never realized it wasn't ice cream in some scenes.
Yeah, and I think they probably added some other stuff. Like there probably was real ice cream throughout the movie.
Yeah, there's probably colors and other stuff. Like you know what I mean. Like added. It wasn't just like mashed potatoes mixed around.
Right, but you know how ice cream has like a certain sheen to it.
Yeah.
That mashed potatoes doesn't. That's why I'm thinking they had to add some. Yeah. But that's very clever.
Yeah,
that is.
I just never would have thought potatoes. It's one of those movies. You know what I mean? Like in. In ads and stuff, that food always looks delicious and crazy, but that's never what you get because it never is. Like cereal, if people don't realize, like a lot of cereal commercials, that's Elmer's glue in the cereal bowl. It's not milk.
So
that's one of the movie secrets. Like a lot of times they use wax instead of actual like burgers or buns. Like
they actually passed a law recently that companies are no longer allowed to show what they are not selling. And it was actually this major thing a few years ago, but there's YouTube videos on it now that they had to create certain film techniques to create this food to make it look good. And I'll share a link on our Facebook referring to this because if you guys didn't know, like I am somewhat aspiring to be like a cinematographer, and I'd like to learn about all these secrets and techniques. And like a good example is they have this one commercial of like a burger falling into place where it's like there's a bun and then there's a patty and then like it already has cheese and whatever, lettuce, tomato, and they actually filmed that as a slowed down, like a 1 second shot. It all happened in real time, but they slowed it down and they had 5 cameras on it, and you know what I mean. They passed that law like 6 or 7 years ago for false advertising or whatever they call it. But hey, you know what? It just makes people have to be more creative in how they film stuff.
That's a Sue Happy Nation. There's probably so many lawsuits and whatnot for, this isn't what my food looked like. I mean, they're partially right. I mean, it's shitty, like especially fast food and other restaurants, they make their food look a certain way, and when you get it, it doesn't look anything like. It's kind of
McDonald's is the worst when it comes to that, dude.
They all are. I barely eat those places, so I couldn't. I just know, because I used to when I was younger.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah,
I don't touch that shit really anymore.
I'll still go to like Moe's and Pancheros and stuff.
I don't even know what any of those places are.
They're like burrito places, like Chipotle, but like Taco Bell, KFC. I don't mess with that stuff. I don't trust it.
I've been to Chipotle a couple of times. It's not bad. Just a little overpriced. I mean, we had Surf Taco where I grew up in Jersey.
Oh yeah, I had Surf Taco once.
It's pretty good.
Down in fuck man, we took the Cape May Lewis ferry because we were going up to see a show in Atlantic City.
Yeah, it was probably in forget, it might have been is that little, it's like a little might have been Red Bank, or
possibly,
or yeah, it might have been Red Bank up in that area. I think that there's a couple littler towns, whatever. There's just like 2 or 3 Surf Tacos in that area.
Yeah, the guy that I went with was from Jersey, and he put in his GPS. He's like, "Oh, we got to stop here," and it was great.
Yeah. Red Bank, also the home of Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash.
Have you ever been there?
Oddly enough, no. And they moved to another place. Like, it's kind of funny. Lived like a couple miles from the place and never went there. Watched the whole show on the place and never went there. Literally lived 4 houses from the fucking beach. I literally could have walked out. I can hear the ocean from my bedroom window, and went to the beach twice in the year and a half I lived there. When you work fucking 6 a.m. to fucking 8 p.m. almost every day.
You don't want to do it.
Like, 5-6 days a week, you don't want to do anything.
Absolutely.
Or like the little time you do, you don't go spend it on the beach. It's just...
No, you got more things that you actually wanted to do. Yeah.
All right, so my last thing that I wanted to discuss, and then we'll get into Gore's. Is it the kill of the week we're doing right now?
This one will be the kill of the week.
Kill of the week, and then we'll cut and we'll go into our breakdown on episode 2, people. So the last one is, in the beginning sequence, the ice cream truck reads on the back doors, "Watch out for children," but later in the movie, we see Gregory has painted over the word "for," so what it actually now says is "watch out, children." But at times, the word "for" mysteriously comes back on the van sometimes, from like one shot to the next. It's kind of hilarious. But
continuity, guys.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah. But it's funny because it says "watch out, children." You know what I mean? It's almost like a little subtle hint, like, to the movie, even though technically he doesn't kill any children, but
no, but that's his target.
Yeah, so to speak. Yeah.
I mean, if he tried, that's what he was trying to do.
He tried with, we'll get into that when we talk about the movie, because they make you think some things, and we'll go into that later.
Yeah. But before that, where we? Yeah, right here. Okay. Before that, we noticed that most of our episodes do cut into 2 parts, sometimes 3. But they kind of just cut off randomly, because like we just keep talking and we just cut it in the middle somewhere. So now we're actually looking at a clock and paying attention, and actually have a proper outro for part 1 and part 2. So we want to end this episode on Gore's Kill of the Week.
And it also gives an excuse to put more gore into our videos. I mean, I think everyone wants more gore, right?
Yeah, I think it's like the best idea we could have.
I know.
And then part 2 we'll have the pick of the week. But we'll get to that when we get to part 2. Too. We know what her kill of the week is. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the movie, but now I want to go see it.
I haven't seen the movie in a really long time. I just found out about the kill today. I actually kind of wish I went over this, watched it and could talk to you guys about it a little bit, but it is a fantastic movie overall. If you're into just basically lots of violence and gore and fucked up Japanese horror and action horror, sort of. It's not really horror. It is. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
It has its moments.
It's just like a fucked up action thriller, I guess you can call it. Be a little more.
Well, I thought one thing that was cool was like the comparison to what was the movie that we pulled up?
Old Boy. I confused Old Boy for Itchy at one point in time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I own them both. It's just so many movies.
Yeah, so many. But make sure you tune in to part 2, which will be out the following day. So you'll be hearing this Monday night. So make sure you tune in Tuesday night for part 2. Until then, just stay safe and enjoy Gore's Kill of the Week.
Hey fans and freaks, it's Gorely Girl, and I'm here with Gore's Kill of the Week on GrindHaus on 42nd Street. We're getting a lot of new listeners lately, so I just wanted to do a quick intro to my part of GrindHaus on 42nd Street. I've been a huge horror fan for as long as I can remember. I was never really into girly makeup, but I was always into monster effects, and once I started acting in a Halloween attraction, my talent grew to loving all kinds of makeup. I learned how to use eyeshadows and lip liners to make cuts and bruises. That's when my interest in movie effects grew. I'd watch horror movies just to pause a scene to think how they got the blood to squirt or splatter. So here I am, talking about my favorite movie scenes to you, sharing something bloody and gross, and hope you become a fan of special effects too. This week, my choice comes from a movie that has so many bloody-soaked scenes. It was difficult to find just one kill because they all run together so beautifully. I mean, I guess for me at least. A movie so violent, it's known as one of the sickest films of all times. It was adapted from a manga series and has everything that makes you uncomfortable. This film is so disturbing that film festivals handed out vomit bags, people fainted, and entire countries banned it. I'm talking about the 2001 Japanese action crime film directed by Takashi Miike, Ichi the Killer. This movie has raised widespread controversy due to its high-impact violence and graphic depictions of cruelty. Takashi Miike has directed over 100 films from family-friendly to dramas, but he's best known for this boundary-pushing movie. Ichi the Killer uses both makeup prosthetics effects and computer-generated effects for live-action and CGI animation. There's a cartoonish quality and a warped sense of humor in these torture scenes. The makeup and special effects artist we applaud is Yuichi Matsui. He is famous for work also in The Grudge, The Audition, and Kill Bill. Matsui teamed up with visual effects supervisor Misako Saka, who worked on scenes from One Missed Call and Masters of Horror episode Imprint, which was also banned. Between Miike's style and these amazing special effects artists, Ichi the Killer is really tough to watch. Okay, a quick background of the story. Trigger topics ahead, which include gangs, rape, torture, perversion with pimps and prostitutes, masturbation, along with deranged human psyche. Pretty much all of this is within the first 5-minute scene. I mean, the title sequence literally surfaces from a puddle of fresh semen. Our characters in this movie are based on revenge and anger, with some sadness and confusion. It's a pretty depressing film. Ichi is a weak, pathetic guy with an average Joe job and is easily manipulated. However, he's also a trained killing machine, taking out some pretty wicked people. Ichi is a strange hero though, because in order for him to rage out, he needs to get turned on to get turned up. He gets off on violence involving women, but after saving the women from those brutal fights, he then becomes the one wanting to take part of the crime that he just stopped. I know, it's confusing, right? Because of Ichi's body count of kills, we're introduced to Kakihara. Kakihara gets delight from torturing victims for answers because his boss got killed. Kakihara is a sadomasochist, which means he gets pleasure from inflicting pain on others and himself. His boss basically knew how to make him happy, in the same twisted sense that he thinks Ichi will, now that his boss is gone. So he goes to hunt down Ichi. While our characters are constantly on the hunt, kills are happening every movie sequence. Each kill is creative, painful, and very messy. Before I share my kill of the week, I want to list some of the gorgeous effects and torture type of spells. There are scenes where nipples are getting sliced off, a slow stretching of the face by pulling of the cheeks, hundreds of skewers pushed into a head while the same victim is being shoved into a television, Kakihara cutting out his own tongue, an arm getting snake swallowed, faces sliding down walls, that's right, just a face, a leg getting amputated, a body being suspended by fish hooks, then a pot of boiling water slowly being poured over the elevated stretched out back. And when you think you've had enough, here comes my kill of the week. Ichi has witnessed a brutal rape from a window that he enters. He's welcomed by a fist to the face from a pimp, followed by a slap and pulling of his hair. Ichi takes it awkwardly and then pushes away. With his bladed heel boot, he slices the guy from head to groin, splitting him completely in half. It's a slow separation with a wet sound and tearing of muscles before the intestines pour out and the two halves drop to the floor. Ichi turns to the prostitute with her face cut, her eyes swollen shut, and her mouth busted. She eerily smiles at Ichi for the kill he just committed, and immediately she grabs a bat and attacks Ichi. Let me mention that Ichi tells her how he wants to hit on her because that's what she wants, right? Because she's the prostitute. So she's basically asking to be raped. Anyways, when she tries to attack him with the baseball bat, he slices her neck as he tosses the bat from her arms. For a moment, she stands there and cocks her head to the side. Her neck reveals the deep cut. Blood spews from the cut, and she falls into the wall. Stunned and confused, she stumbles into the arms of Ichi, where she collapses after screaming in his face, with the blood still spitting. In my opinion, this scene had the best sounds with the special effects and makeup and CGI, but not too much to make it seem completely unrealistic. I really hope you enjoyed my kill of the week. Stay tuned to GrindHaus on 42nd Street for more of the gore.
And I said, lady, that's not a turkey leg. That's my fit. Oh, hi. I didn't see you guys come in there. I'm Gray.
I'm Wolfman.
And this is part 2 of GrindHaus on 42nd Street, episode 7, The Ice Cream Man. What you guys just heard
Lucky
was, hopefully, you guys just heard Gore's Kill of the Week. Obviously I didn't have enough time to watch the movie in between episodes, but definitely on my list, my long list that gets longer every day that I talk to Wolfman, because he's just pulling out this shit from, like, he has like ceiling tiles and he just opens it. Oh, well, here's more movies. You got to see this.
It's a classic, bloody, fucked up movie. It's not for everyone. It is one of the more, I mean, I guess it's a little less graphic now to a certain extent to some standards, but when that movie came out, though, it was really pushing the envelope for gore. That was when those movies really started kicking in with the violence and just fucked upness in general. It was during that time.
And I mean, that was before, like, Hostel and Saw.
Yeah, it's like right before, not long before, but yeah, it's one of the movies that those guys drew. They were inspired by, you know what I mean? It was one of the movies that kicked off that whole genre of.
Yeah, because it looked like it only beat it by like a year or two.
Yeah, it was a couple of years. I don't know exactly, because some of those movies, like, just for instance, Battle Royale ended up being like a huge movie. So did Boondock Saints, even though that wasn't an Asian movie, but both those movies came out around 1999, but they didn't get popular until like 2003-ish. 2002-ish, you know what I mean? So a good like three years or so went by before they all of a sudden just picked up the steam, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird how that works. Yeah. Like, I mean, I didn't know about Boondock Saints till about 2003, 2004.
Yeah, it might even, some people it's 2004. Like, I actually owned the movie in, I think, 2000. Yeah.
Do you remember how you heard about it?
Through a girl, actually, that I dated briefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
actually, both the movies. So she was like on it apparently with those movies.
That's
both
cool.
of them from her.
Before we jump in, I just want to ask you, what did you think of Boondock Saints 2?
I didn't hear a word you said.
I'm sorry. I'm sitting here and I'm like, what's he gonna? I said, before we get into it, what did you think of Boondock Saints 2?
Oh, Boondock Saints 2. Can we just skip that? Really, just it's such a sore. Oh, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Just leave it at that. If we ever cover Boondock Saints at one of our famous episodes, we obviously have to talk about it. But I hate Julie Benz, like, first and foremost. So that ruined it when she replaced, fucking goddamn it. I hate names. Pulling stuff off the top of my head. William Dafoe.
Yeah.
when she replaced William Dafoe as his protege.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, and then the director, did all those like. I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I am because I just fucking hate this movie and I get on a rant. It's just how it is. God damn it. And how he kept doing like the replays over and over again.
Yeah.
Because he thought he was slick with the whole like, I'm going to show you the ending and then we're going to do like what happened in the first movie.
Yeah.
And he tried to like reinvent the wheel with his movie and then ended up making
Like
it.
Memento.
Yeah, ended up making it like a million times fucking worse. He could have just
unwatchable.
He just could have made the movie the way he did the first one, and it would have been fucking awesome. Probably. Well, minus
that's
Julie
what people
Benz.
wanted.
Minus Julie Benz because she just sucks.
Right.
But
Right.
I hate her in
that's
everything.
what
I
people
literally hate her
wanted.
in everything. There's not one thing
So-
that I liked her in.
You weren't a fan of her before Boondock Saints 2 was made, and then when you found out it was being made and you saw she was in it.
Yeah, it's terrible. I hate her in Dexter. I hate her in Rambo 4. I mean, I hate her in obviously Boondock Saints 2. She's in so many other. I just hate her in everything. She's a terrible actress. I'm sorry, I really do.
I'm sure she's a nice lady.
I'm sure she's a fucking wonderful person. I just hope we never. I hope we never get famous enough where I have to interview her.
I'll make a point of it.
Like,
I hope.
why do you
I hope
suck
we
in
get big
every
enough.
movie? I hate you.
Like, I'm sure you give to like children's hospitals and stuff, but like, if you could solely do that and just not act
Yeah, just
anymore,
never act again. It'd be awesome. It'd be fantastic.
I don't. You know what? The
Honestly,
main thing I don't
actually, you
like
know what?
about
Real
that-
quick, if she could just be in movies and die within like the first like 10 minutes, like of
Just
a
the
movie
opening
all the
kill
time,
girl.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Santa Slay, how they had all those big actors in the beginning, and Bill Goldberg came in and just killed them all.
Yeah, well, big, but you know,
No, but in the
Notable.
notable actors, yes.
yeah.
At one
Chris
point,
Kattan
at
and-
one point in time, some of those actors were really, you know, like fucking Fran Dresser was like a supermodel, and you know she had a super popular show, The Nanny. Then you had
Chris Kattan.
James Caan, who's a
James
huge
Caan.
actor. He was a huge. You can't say he's not.
No, he
He's
is
a huge
he
actor.
is.
Yeah, Chris Kattan, who's annoying as fuck, and you know, there was a couple
Guys
other.
want to buy some cookies?
Those were like the three bigger ones. I know there was other people that have somewhat status. I just don't remember who they are off the top of my
yeah,
head.
I'm just not.
Off the
Yeah,
top
I'm
of my
not
head.
familiar.
But yeah, he murders a whole family in the beginning of the movie, right off the end. Bill Goldberg is the best evil Santa ever that I can think of off the top of my head right now, too. Loved it. We'll cover that another time.
Well, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
No, but in a comedy, like
I know,
he's
I
the
know.
best evil Santa. That dude, I mean, that dude's a murderer. He's a serial killer in Silent Night, Deadly Night. He's not like he's not evil Santa.
No, he's not Santa at all. He is a person,
Yeah.
and he dresses as
Yeah,
Santa.
yeah.
Bill Goldberg, and oddly enough, Bill Goldberg is Jewish, and he plays the best Santa I know.
It's how it works.
See, we got to be careful with this because we rant.
I know.
And part 2,
Never know what
put
you
it
run
on me.
into. You never know what you're
Put
gonna
it
run into
on
when you
me.
watch these or listen to these episodes that we do.
Yeah, seriously.
Never know.
But we do know where we left off with part 1, besides, you know, the kill of the week, which was our actual in-depth review of Clint Howard's starring role as the Ice Cream Man from 1995.
Correct the mundo.
How should we dip our toes in this?
I just
First scene?
Yeah, just start the first scene. Like, so it opens up with a black and white prologue, and
Yep.
it's actually really cool the way they did that. I really enjoyed them opening up with the black and white. You know, it's low budget. It works. It fits the movie. It's like 1950s ish. Would you say?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, old timey kind of thing. And these guys come up and basically do a drive by. Sort of. I mean, it did stop, but you know, you get the point. You don't always have to keep driving, but
Yeah, no.
and kill the ice cream guy. Oh, goddamn hiccups! They kill the ice cream guy. They shoot him up. It looks like an Israeli submachine gun.
Took notice of that?
Yeah. I was looking at the gun. It's like a little. I think it had like the side clip. I think it's Israeli. It might be German. I don't remember. I think it's Israeli though.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it now.
It's different.
Yep.
It's like it's just something that stood out to me. You know, I watch a lot of action movies, guns,
Yep.
like, you know, something different.
Side clips are cool.
Yeah.
I don't care what people say.
No, those guns are definitely pretty awesome. And
Yeah.
this young boy witnesses the death. He actually pulls ice cream out of the guy's pocket and starts eating it. And the mother's like, "Oh, are you okay? Whatever." And he says the infamous line of, "Who's going to deliver the ice cream now?" You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, this kid's going to grow up to be a murderer.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, that's kind of how it starts. I mean,
Yeah, there's a little bit of a crowd because, like, people do.
Well, they flock
there's other
over.
people. Yeah, it's on like a neighborhood scene, and they do a close up, kind of an uncomfortable close up on this kid. He's got a little bit of blood on his head dripping down his face, but he has just this deadpan expression, like emote. Like an acting coach, anyone will always tell you, emote. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to open your.
I actually liked it. I wish I'm glad he didn't act, because it just showed the coldness, man. That kid was like cold without realizing he was.
I find it like, dude, you just witnessed I understand for the character, you know what I mean? But like, at least put like even an intensity, he's basically looking there like he just took a Zoloft,
Maybe that kid couldn't act. Maybe that's all they could do, but I think it worked. I think that scene was perfect the way it was. We're just going to disagree slightly. Yeah, but that's why people love us.
Now, it cuts to present day, mid-90s, 94, 95, and it looks like the kid's playing maybe a Commodore 64 or an Amiga. He's playing a video game console with a keyboard, and he's playing on a TV.
Yeah,
so
I wish I knew what
basically,
it was. I tried to look to see what it was, and I didn't know.
So if I'm looking at the keyboard, I mean, I know the Commodore had that color keyboard, but I know Amiga, like we talked about a few weeks ago.
Commodore might have been a little older, but then again, it might have been Amiga. Yeah, it's one of them.
Because Amiga had the 32, and that was actually like a little home PC as well. But regardless, he's playing a video game on a flat box TV. Basically, this is Wolfman 1989.
Except I had a Nintendo and then a Genesis, but yeah.
Yeah. And then, you hear the ice cream music, and this kid's like, "Ooh, ice cream." And he runs over to his mom's purse, and his mom's like, "I'll give you the money, just don't take out my purse." He's like, "Oh, sorry, Mom."
Yeah.
And like a little fucking
typical
prick.
careless little fucking kid, just taking what he wants.
Yup. And runs outside, and he wants a push pop, which, look, you probably saw our little Facebook review. Whatever you choose, I'm not judging you by. But if you go to an ice cream truck and you pick a push pop, you need to reevaluate your life, especially if they have the chocolate eclairs, the Choco Tacos, which was not on that Facebook post.
No.
Gore.
Mm-hmm.
Third, I would probably put maybe the Chip Witch. One of those three.
I would just go for good old fashioned soft serve at that point in time. Maybe like a twist with some sprinkles, or like the shell fudge on it and a waffle cone. You like the Mr. Softy truck?
I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking. Shit. Well, if that's the case, I want a banana split.
Well, I had trucks that did that when I was growing up around our area.
Yeah, I mean, our trucks did too, but I'm going off of what Gore had in the post.
Oh, yeah, I briefly looked at the post. But yeah, if we want to go on that post, then yeah, maybe a chip.
But yeah,
witch.
no,
yeah.
We when we were kids, our ice cream man actually did like sundaes and banana splits too, waffle. He was a good dude.
Good dude.
Yeah. So he wants a push pop, and then you don't see Clint Howard right away. You see his arm, and he goes to give it through the bars. Like it's like an ice cream truck in like the shittiest neighborhood. Even though it's a beautiful neighborhood, it's like it's in the ghetto because there's bars on the window.
The first thing you notice when they go up to the truck, they kind of pan to the truck, that it has a couple bullet holes in it, and then they show the side of the truck, and from the beginning scene you saw it said Ice Cream King on the top, and now it's like crossed off on the one thing. It says Ice Cream Prince, so it's the same truck. Yeah. So you're starting to put the pieces together that little kid now is this guy. It's the same truck, same from the killings many years, or the killing many years before that.
Yep, the kid who grew up. Now, it's funny because if you look at that first scene, the back of that truck says, "Watch out, children."
Yeah.
Now, at this point in the movie, you would have no reason to think why the 4 would be crossed out. It's the first opening shot of the movie, pretty much. But yeah, it was crossed out.
Yeah. But it does also say Ice Cream King on the door at like one point in time too. I don't know if it was ever crossed off on the door, but it's weird how it's crossed off on the roof one. It says Prince, but on the door it says Ice Cream King. Continuity, man. Continuity directors. Let's go.
Well,
get your shit together.
Well, this is what happens when you pick a porn director to direct your motion picture.
Get your shit together.
So the kid does ask for a push pop, and you see Clint Howard.
You see the cockroaches yet, or is that later?
Hold on. Because at first he goes to hand him the push pop, and he pulls it back, and the kid's like, "What's your problem, mister?" But he says it like a little kid. I'm sorry, I'm not a little kid. He's like, "You didn't say please." And then one of the kids like, "Yo, hurry up, blah, blah, blah." So he's like, "Can I please have a push pop?" Give him the push pop, runs off. And then we get one of that kid eventually might be a main character in the movie, but after him, you get an actual main character.
Well, he plays a big part of getting the movie rolling, that kid, later.
Yeah. And he does eventually become part of the group.
Yeah, at the end. Oh, we kind of giving away things a little bit as we're going through here.
Right. So, the first main kid we see is Tuna, and
he's the fat kid with the stuffing, if you don't remember.
Supposed to be a fat kid.
The pretend fat kid with the pillow stuffing.
Basically, if you took the two oldest, or the old and the middle kid from Home Improvement, and put them together, that's what this kid looks like. He's got the blonde hair, but it's like kind of pushed back a little, parted down the middle. It was the 90s, guys. All right, give us a break. And he puts his order in, and that's when it pans down to the actual ice cream, what's inside the ice cream truck.
Okay. He ordered 2 creamsicles and something else. Who eats creamsicles? Seriously.
Yeah, creamsicle, not a good option.
No, who eats a creamsicle? I know.
Well, then he ordered the Rocket Pop.
I was going to say, yeah, well, the one kid wanted the Rocket Pop, and then he ordered 2 creamsicles, one for him, one for the girl. But I was saying, who orders creamsicles? But I guess there's also a time when Orange Julius was like a huge thing in the malls.
Massive, yeah.
So that whole like orange creamy, I guess, was like a lot bigger. Now you don't really see that anywhere. It's kind of like a fad that went away.
Yeah, I think Stewart's Root Beer actually has an orange cream soda that's delicious.
But it's not like, you know what I mean?
It's not like an ice cream, or it's not like a milkshake or nothing like that.
Yeah, like the milky orange, like
Yeah. But the camera pans into the actual like counter area of the truck that the people can't see, and there's like a bucket, and it's got like mice and like coins in it. There might have even been a cockroach in there.
It was like barely anything. He had this. Well, first off, he grabs the coin. Like, so the kid puts the money up, and he does that weird little creepy like claw with the money.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't put his hands out, and it was just. I actually was kind of weirded out by it. Like it did what it was supposed to. I was like, yeah, that's really kind of messed up, like the way he
unnerving.
Yeah, and then he drops the money in the bucket, and you notice there's like barely any money in there. But yeah, then you see there's like a little tiny baby mouse and some cockroaches, and
then you get the hard pan to the right where you see like a big I think it would be like a 3-gallon or 2-gallon tub of ice cream, and there's live cockroaches in, like, they're not props, they're live like Madagascar hissing cockroaches. And like they're covered in ice cream, and they're sitting on the top, and there's dead flies all on top. And now, obviously they show that, but the kids didn't order that shit, so they don't have to worry about eating it.
He tried. He's like, I don't want that. I just want my creamsicles and bomb pop or something. I think that was that one.
Yep, that was it.
Yeah, obviously there's a bunch of ice cream ordering scenes in here, so they all kind of blend together in a way, to a certain extent.
So, the girl, they meet up, and the girl's like, hey, let's go to the park. Last one, there's a whatever, not a rotten egg, but she said something along those lines, like a rotten fart or something.
Yeah.
And the fat kid, Tuna, the fat kid, he kind of looks down at his belly. He's like, oh boy, here we go again. You know what I mean? Just like that, like a fat kid stereotype.
Yeah.
So he's running. They run to the park. Obviously, the 2 athletic kids make it to the park first. where we see Small Paul sitting on the swing reading a book. He is your Minkus. He's your Millhouse.
Yeah, he's
this
a
guy.
nerdy kid. Actually, I mean, he's technically cooler than them, but yeah, I know what you mean.
He's portrayed as
he's the nerd kid in the group. You actually think they're going to make fun of him at first, but then he's actually part of the group, and they call themselves the Rocketeers, which in general is just super nerdy in the grand scheme of things. So you realize they're not as, I guess, different from him in a way as you would think. Like they all fit together.
Yeah, they fit. Well, it's the trope, you know what I mean?
But not. I don't want people to get confused. Why they were called the Rocketeers? They like model rockets and stuff like that, which is actually kind of cool. I think that's cool shit.
Yeah,
I don't think it's nerdy
I like
as
model
all,
rockets. No, but we're also older.
Yeah. But I'm just what they used it for too. They had to like attach to their bikes like little missiles.
Yep.
I wish you can get away with stuff like that back then. You can't do that now.
Oh my, absolutely.
Kind of jealous. I never thought of that honestly.
Yeah, I would have pointed it backwards and got.
I know.
We would
have been shooting. Oh, never mind.
Oh, you're talking about shooting behind you. Yeah, I'm talking about trying to get like jet propulsion.
Oh no,
you know?
I was shooting them at people. I mean, you're talking to someone who used to get in Roman candle fights with people. Like we'd run around with each other and shoot each other with Roman candles.
Dude, I have a closet full of Roman candles right now, waiting for someone to have a Roman candle fight with, because nobody up here that I know wants to do it. So.
Oh, there's video of me chasing down some of the guys who used to skate with and roller derby at one of our 4th of July things, just chasing them down the street, and everyone's like looking like, can't believe how fast I can run.
Well, when you're trying to hit someone with a Roman candle, I mean, you got a little bit more, enthusiasm.
No, well, just in general, pretty fast in a straight line. Not anymore. Not so much maybe anymore because I'm getting soft.
Age,
getting old, but yeah.
You're getting soft serve.
Getting soft serve. Used to be able to juke pretty good too. Man.
I will say, now that you brought it up earlier, Small Paul is wearing red Converse Chuck Tees on the swing. Mm-hmm. I just noted that. I mean,
they all
that's
are.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they kind of highlight the shoe for a second as they pan. It's funny.
Yes. But I didn't pick up that there was an actual sponsorship until you said
well,
it.
I didn't.
Awesome.
I didn't realize it either until I read it. But I did notice the extra attention to the sneakers throughout the whole movie, though. I did notice that, and I'm like, this is so weird. Like I said, I thought that the director was a weirdo. And this is also before, But then it turns out he is sort of a little bit of a weirdo because you got to be a little bit weird to direct porn. Not that it's a bad thing, but
no,
I'm sure
but,
he's got some weird kinks.
I definitely drew the same conclusion with the feet and the sneakers. Tuna finally shows up and he makes it to the park, like the sand part, and he falls and, Fatty drops his ice cream. And, of course, what happens when a fat kid drops their ice cream on the sand? They're gonna pick it up.
He makes that stupid grinny face, wipes on his shirt, sort of.
Offers anyone if they want to bite. A true fat kid wouldn't say a word. He would just eat that ice cream in shame.
No, a true fat 80s fat kid would actually ask if anyone wanted a bite because he knows they wouldn't. He's just trying to gross them out.
Yeah, I'm saying that's a 80s fat. I'm saying in real life, a fat kid's gonna just turn around like a squirrel who just found a nut, run up a tree, and eat it like no one's watching. But you know what? He eats the ice cream covered in sand, and whatever. They go to the merry-go-round. They have a conversation. Small Paul is reading the Pied Piper, the book, and starts talking about the story. And an old man shows up, and he explains the ending of the story.
Well, he explains sort of like the twisted version that may actually be the folklore
actual
real, that just kind of gets washed out with a lot of fairy tales because they're actually fairy tales are super dark and evil for the most part.
Yep.
In real life.
Grimm's fairy tales,
Grimm tales, yep.
And he explains that the parents paid the Pied Piper to get rid of the rats, and then when they wouldn't pay him for the work, he gathered the children the same way and he drowned them. And Tuna was like, "No, kids got away. They always get away." It's like, fuck you little prick. I'm trying to tell a story here, But that was it. They decide to leave the park after that old man, I don't want to say harassed them, but he kind of did.
He straight up fucking harassed them.
Yeah, okay, cool.
No,
All right,
no,
I didn't want to.
He straight up fucking harassed those kids and was super creepy. And you would think like he was all dirty. He had his little picker stick.
Yeah, picking up trash in the park.
But they kind of emphasized how it was like extra pointy and long, knife-like.
Yeah.
On it, so like you definitely got some vibes like this dude was up to no good.
Oh yeah, and then Ice Cream Man pulls up and sees the older gentleman. He sees Small Paul and sees the older gentleman, and he's like an intense close up.
Actually, no, it's not Small Paul anymore. It's the other kid from the beginning.
No. The kid in the beginning, he wasn't a part of the group yet.
I know they all ran off. They all ran off the spinny merry-go-round thing and took off. So when the ice cream truck pulls back up and they're looking at the kid in the swing, it's the other kid from the beginning.
Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So it was the four kids, the three main kids from the beginning, and then Small Paul was already at the thing. The old man interrupts the story, and then they get off the merry-go-round. But then it shows the kid that was on the swing still, which was the original kid. Now,
yeah, stole his mom's money. Yeah, that kid.
Yeah, I didn't catch this in the beginning originally, but there's the flashback of when Clint Howard sees the guy picking up trash.
Yeah, the stab.
Yeah, dude, they have this intense close-up of a needle with basically looks like reanimator serum.
Yeah.
Going into the side of his head, and it was actually done very well. I know how it's done. It's very easy. The needle goes inside the actual, needle. But still, it looked good.
It did. Yeah, it was a good effect. Yeah. So now you're realizing that he grew up in basically a sanitarium and had fucked up experiments done on him because basically the trauma he witnessed from the ice cream man getting murdered in front of him, basically.
Yep.
It's
and it's crazy because you would think that this is the kind of guy who should be in a sanitarium, but still, like he's how he managed to get out and be an ice cream man blows my mind.
Yeah, well, what I was like thinking is like, when you look at these people, you're just like, something's not right about them. You're like who would sign on for this type of treatment, or who would let them do this? But I guess they did some fucked up shit that just like they do whatever they want. But I mean, I guess this is supposed to be what, like maybe the 60s, early 60s at this time, maybe.
No, see, I would think that this is the wait, in the sanitarium.
Yeah, because he was still
okay. Yeah,
like he was still a kid, and he grew up there, and then he was older when they showed the injection. Yeah. But they obviously been doing this to him more than just this one time. Is what I'm getting at. He is older, and it's probably the 80s. Or
the experiment looked like it could have happened, because they were pretty doing recent, shit like that. Obviously, yeah. Well, at least in the 80s. I just hit my microphone, but yeah, he's out and he has a job, and I don't know who signed off on it. They might have to. Well, we learn later in the film what actually happens. But anyways, the original kid gets kidnapped. The ice cream man takes him,
puts him in his freezer,
and that's like the main plot point. That's like you said earlier. That's what gets the ball rolling is this missing kid.
So this kid's missing, and they this is where they go into the interview with him, right? They pull him over when he's driving down the street next. Is that what shows next?
No, actually, it just cuts to him going back. Yeah, well, he goes back to the property and he has a little confrontation with the dog, and then we find out.
That's right. Yeah, because he's trying to get the kid out of the
Yep, but he stays on the property.
I can't believe I forgot this.
The retired nurse.
Yeah.
So the nurse that actually took care of him, and you find this out, she's the landlady for where he lives, but she's also his legal guardian. And since she was a nurse at the place, I guess maybe that's how he was able to get out.
Yeah, well, she's basically signed for him. She's his legal guardian. I mean, I guess he's older, doesn't technically need one-ish. but she's supposed to like look after him.
Yeah, just like assisted living type of thing.
Yeah.
But she's completely clueless.
Well, she's obviously batshit herself. You can tell something's off.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the woman that is being an 80-year-old playing by a 44-year-old actress.
Because he's got all the fake flowers like in the ground. He's like spreading a little dust on them, like they're actually growing. You can tell they're off.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
and she treats them like they're real.
Yeah, she's like, I wish you'd plant some of them in my yard. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
And what she owes him, or he owes her 5 gallons of ice cream for rent.
Yeah. And then he has a little blood coming from his nose from his previous kill, and she asks what it is. He's like, oh, it's grenadine. I'm like, what are you, a bartender? I didn't know ice cream and use grenadine.
Yeah, and something like the fancy, like not the banana split stuff and whatnot, but there's other type of fancy
like sundaes and stuff like that.
Yeah, they would put grenadine in them.
Okay. But basically they have a little interaction. The dog's barking, and she heard like the yelping, and she was like, have you seen my dog? He's like, nope, I haven't seen him. But then they cut to a scene that kind of looks like a wood chipper, and the dog's fake. Obviously it's fake, but the dog carcass going in the wood chipper.
Yeah, so when the dog comes up to him, he's like, do you want a push pop? He's like, you want whatever, and then all of a sudden, like, he pushes up and a knife comes out of it, and you hear the dog yelp. So they don't really show him killing the dog, but he did. Next thing you know, the dog's quartered, getting thrown into like a wood chipper, basically.
Yep. And that's, basically your opening, here's how things are going.
It's pretty graphic, too, like throwing the pieces in there. They weren't terrible, but they weren't the best pieces, but they weren't, you know what I mean? Like,
no, but you knew what it was.
No. You're supposed to know what it was, but I mean, like, they looked like chunks of quartered animal. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't look terrible. Like, they were. That's what I'm saying. They were believable.
It was good. It was good enough to be recognizable. You know what I mean? It's not like with some movies they would just toss a whole bunch of fur on top of a piece of meat. You know what I mean? You could tell it was a dog for sure. That scene fades. And that's the one thing I'm going to say about this movie. If you're a fan of black fade outs, there's tons of them. I'm not going to rag on the black fade out because it has its place in time, but you can definitely tell a porn director directed this because the black fade is like literally the easiest first common fade that people learn. And it's like almost every other scene, it's like black fade.
Well,
black
fade.
fade.
I think it has to do with the way this was probably like set up in like the storyboard and the screenshots. Like all the scenes are very different. So like the black fade or cut to the whole nother, there's not a lot of like flowing scenes. You know what I mean? Like they do their scene and then it's like cut, totally different backdrop, totally new. Like, because he's inside what it looks like you sort of see a little bit of the place and you realize it's kind of like a soda shop. It's like, but it's kind of run down a little bit. It looks
like it's been closed.
Yeah, they don't fully show it yet. You kind of notice it later on more so, but it's an old soda shop back in like you realize like after that scene's over, she talks about rent and stuff, and you realize he's renting out the place next door, and it's the old Ice Cream King's actual shop because back in the day they had these soda shops where they did a lot of malts and ice cream shakes and whatever, and they sold ice cream out of there and different flavored sodas and.
But like they would also make their own ice cream.
Yeah, they would make everything there, even the sodas. Like it was just like all just soda water and different syrups and whatever. They make all sorts of different things.
Like a lot of people think ice cream shop today, and it's just a bunch of gallon things in a freezer. Back then, they actually made ice cream on the premise. Big mixers in the back and big vats of cream and all your flavor the thing to chop all the nuts and all that shit.
Yeah, it was pretty big. It was basically a big warehouse. That place, it was huge.
Yeah, yep, like a factory
in the back, and then you had the little eatery area in the front.
Yeah, yep. So that scene all fades, and you cut to a dinner scene with the family. Which kid? The kid who had the older brother, not Tuna, but the.
I think that was that an older brother? I thought the girl was his sister, and then. Maybe it was his older brother, and I just
No,
didn't pay
it was
attention.
No, it was the older
So that
brother.
was the older
because
brother, and the girl was the girlfriend.
the
of him?
girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, because the mom says, hey, your brother can take you to the movies tomorrow night or whatever.
I missed that part. For some reason, I just seemed like he was like the asshole boyfriend for some reason, but he was still looking out for the kid because of the family. You know what I mean? Like, it was weird.
Yeah, no, he definitely is the asshole.
Yeah.
Because he's like, take him to your mom. The mom's like, oh, you take him to the movies. So I was like, well, I'm not going to see a G-rated film, that's for sure.
And
All
this
right,
kid is
whatever.
the kid that ends up in American Pie, by the way.
Yeah. This is the MILF guy or something?
MILF guy number 1.
Well, so they have a dinner scene, and guess what? Fade to black. The next scene, you see Cliff is Cliff. God damn, I keep saying it. Clint. He's sleeping in the yard with like the fake flowers, and he's dreaming about being in this white room, like a sanitarium room, and one of the doctors there's like a clown running around with like a
It's
big
really
ice cream
fucked
cone.
up weird scene. Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny, but like at the same time, you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
Yeah, very Gacy looking clown. As a matter of fact, now that I see the clown's face, that is Gacy's makeup, and the clown is a heavyset guy. I bet you they were going for that look. That is his exact makeup.
Now-
Blue eyes.
well, I was gonna say, like, later on, they kind of like whatever he's holding in his hand disappears, and it turns into the needle. So I think I don't think he's actually holding ice cream, and he might not necessarily be in clown paint. This
Right.
might be all in his head, and it's like, and then you see the nurse come over, which is, the nurse from his house.
Yep.
You know,
Because
Nurse
she worked.
Warden.
She worked there while he was a patient. That's the only reason that he's out now, and she's obviously retired. And like I said, dude, like you look at her, and it's like, she's not 80. She is hot. She's hot. Okay. But yeah, I guess he passed out in her yard or in the yard.
Yeah,
and
because
he wakes up.
I think he lives like on the premises too, though. I think
Yeah,
he doesn't live in
yeah.
her house, but I think on the premises. Maybe she thinks he lives in the whatever. But they talk about the rent there. I just kind of mixed it all together in when we were talking about characters. But yeah,
But obviously he stays there somewhere.
yeah. It's not uncommon for her to see him.
At this point, the cops have the missing kid report, and they're out looking, and they actually come up to the ice cream truck, and they're like, "Hey, have you seen any kids?" He's like, "Yeah, all the fucking time. I'm an ice cream man," But he's like, "Yeah, I'll keep an eye out." And the cops, they order an ice cream cone, and Rocky Road, and you see him scoop the ice cream, pretty nice size scoop, but then it pans over. And you see like an eyeball sitting on a tub of ice cream, and he grabs it and he uses
They show a lot. They show a lot more in the case, though. Like, you saw like body parts in the case this time.
Oh yeah, no, there was the mice,
Yeah.
and there were some body parts. There was different ice cream containers open, but yeah, like the what they go for, what they're panning to are these eyeballs.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, it
two.
makes you think that he killed the kid now. And that's the
Yeah,
kid
yeah.
in the case, and he's feeding him.
Yeah.
Part of that kid.
Did you believe when they use that little? It's like a little tomato core. You have the top of the tomato, and you poke this thing in, and it takes it out. Well, he does that with the eyeball, and when he pulls it out, it looks like basically a little piece of marshmallow or whatever's in Rocky Road. I'm not a fan of Rocky Road, so I don't know.
I think it's like marshmallow and nuts and some other like whatever.
Okay.
I'm not
He kind of pushes that little piece of eyeball in the ice cream, gives it to the detective, and like the detective just starts licking. It kind of licks around it at first, but totally goes hog on.
Well,
that
then they
eyeball.
show it in his mouth. They have a close up of his mouth, and he's swirling the eyeball, and it's a totally different piece of eyeball now too. By the way,
Yeah, it's like an actual whole eyeball.
You see the iris, like everything, like swirling around. And he's like, like,
and he's he's like chewing it with his teeth, like not even chewing, but like grinding.
So
like,
bad.
hey, like the director's like, look, we really got to let people know you got this eye in your mouth, so just ham it up a little. God, stick with porn.
I was gonna say, this looks like a porn shot. Now you think about it, Maybe we're just like swirling some like the female after like a cum scene and swirling stuff around in her mouth. Like it's definitely directed like something. Like this puts a whole new spin on this movie now that we're talking about it after finding out this guy directed porn.
Now, exactly. Now that you said that, I have to rewatch this movie and I won't see it the same. They cut to the scene. They got a bunch of kids around waiting for their ice cream, and like this buxom blonde lady shows up, cuts in line in front of all these kids, and like she's hitting on the ice cream man. And it's not like you got like Antonio Banderas,
the town slut, I guess you can say.
I was gonna say the town bicycle, but
yeah.
But yeah, she's like hitting on this guy, and he's kind of like oblivious to it, I guess. He's not paying any mind to her advances.
Yeah. Him getting hitting on by women is not exactly in his wheelhouse. I guess you could say. I'm gonna say getting hit on women is not really like in his wheelhouse. It's not something he worries about.
Right? Yeah, it's like the least of his worries. But she wants ice cream delivered to her house personally. He's like, no deliveries. Yep. And she's like, okay, well, this is the address.
She wants 1 gallon of his hard pack. But that's what they keep calling it. They're like, oh, I'll take 2 scoops of your hard pack. Like, so they keep calling it because it's not soft serve ice cream. It's actual like hard ice cream. Hard ice cream. So they keep calling it a hard pack. And it's just funny. Now, like I said, it puts a whole nother meaning with him being a porn director. They keep calling everything hard pack. It makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Like even more so.
So, I mean, basically they're just doing a bunch of setup stuff. Cut to a little later, they're going home, and like the girl she gets home and she's like, hey, I'll see you guys later. And they're like, oh, well, do you want us to come in and walk in? And she's like, no, that's fine. And she's looking in the window of her house, and you see the cut to this lady who I guess is like supposedly trying to like talk or speak in tongues or something. Like she's like bouncing up and down in like a reclining chair.
Yeah, she's having a seizure basically.
Yeah, but her eyes are wide open, and she's like, "How about
you can have your eyes open and still have a seizure. They don't have to be closed."
No, but I'm saying not. She looks like she's 100% with it. You know what I mean? And she's doing like the bad Adam and Sandler, like "How about I go? Oh, we should have like." Listen, like when you speak in tongues, you're supposed to be speaking in a dead language, like Aramaic, or I mean.
And then the dad's the town pastor. That's.
Her dad.
Yeah. What would we say his name was?
Oh, we just had it.
Reverend Langley. Reverend Langley.
Yeah, Langley. Yep.
So he's like, oh, the Archangel Michael's speaking to your mother again. He's like, come back. And she's just like, fuck you. Like, and runs off. Room, yeah, she's like, I want none of this. She obviously knows something's up with her. Yeah. That's not, she's a smart kid. She's not.
Yeah, no, she knows it's some bullshit. Now, they cut to the other kids, and you see Small Paul walking, and he cuts around the corner where the ice cream truck is, and you see my favorite scene in the movie, Clint Howard dancing in the dark by himself. Dude, I want this to just be a GIF, and just to constantly watch it, just him. Oh, it's so good.
It's Clint Howard's, like, was it
self salsa dancing?
No, it would be like his flash dance scene, like.
Yeah, and it's only like 5 seconds long, but it's worth it.
It's so funny. I was like, why? What is going on here? I don't get. But you're not supposed to get anything in this movie. It just makes you laugh. It's a good laugh scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, well, the Clint turns around, he sees the kid there, offers him ice cream. And opens up his freezer, and you see a dead body in his freezer in his truck. But the kid can't see that because he's not in the truck, And basically, he drops the trash stick.
They kind of have like a bonding moment. Because they talk about how he was like, the little kid was like, I was sick a lot. And then he was like, oh, I was sick too. Yeah, and he's like, I can guess your ice cream. And he's like, it was like butter.
Yeah, like butter pecan, basically.
Butter brickle or something, I think it was. Yeah, I think that was it. And then he's like, how'd you get, So they have this like little bonding scene, and you think he's going to be cool, and then, like I said, all of a sudden the pick falls out from the
trash picker upper.
The park guy. So you're like, oh,
Yeah.
so now it's the park guy that's dead in the thing. Maybe it's not the little kid. You're starting to wonder what's going on.
And when Small Paul sees the trash picker, basically Small Paul looks like a generic Macaulay Culkin, like from Page Master with like the round glasses and all that. And when he sees the trash picker, like his eyes get real big, and then Clint's eyes somehow even go further out of his head. Like, I don't know how that was possible. And, he wrangles up Small Paul. And the entire time, Tuna is like hiding behind a dumpster and sees it, and he runs off. But like the ice cream man's like, "Hey, your buddy, he's sick. I gotta take him to the hospital." And then Tuna runs off, and he's like, "Oh, I know where you live. You better not say anything, or I'll kill your parents."
Yeah.
It's like, what? Wait, what kind of threat is that?
I'll kill your parents. He's like, you kids are gonna learn you can't run from the ice cream man. I was like,
Yeah. They actually they say that quite a few times in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Clint Howard tag.
Yeah. Tuna runs into the woods and he spots the kid that went
didn't
missing.
Spot him first. He ran just hid in this tree, and they just happened to be hiding in the same tree.
That's what I'm saying. He ran into the woods and he spotted him because he was right there in the woods as soon as he actually hit the coverage. And he's like, "What are you doing here? How long you been here? Blah blah blah." You know what? It might not have been Tuna. It was actually, I think, the other kid. It wasn't Tuna that found him. It's the other kid. Not the fat kid. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I thought Tuna was the one that ran and hid. It was the other kid?
No, yeah, it was the other kid, which, I mean, regardless, they're interchangeable. One's fat, one's not.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's technically not fat. When you see him running, they look the same from behind because they look like the same size until you see the pillow on the front. Yeah.
You have to see the side profile.
Yeah.
He runs home. His parents are arguing, but the mom stops and says, "Hey, take your shoes off at the door." And they actually have a scene where the camera goes back outside and he takes his Converse high tops off and puts them on the porch.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, so he knows where he lives by driving around and spotting your shoes on the porch.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous, but I mean, I guess it's sort of feasible if you're in the same area and you see the same things every day, day in and day out.
Yeah, it makes sense. It does.
It's feasible. So don't leave your shoes on the porch.
Yeah, bring those shits in.
Yeah, build a mud room so you can
the parent
have a little inside.
They're arguing about like the wife thinks the husband's cheating, and there's this weird moment where they should go real close up on the mouths again. Do you remember that? Like they're arguing, and then like it just close ups on the mom's mouth, and then it does a close up on the dad's mouth. Know. It's just weird. There's too many mouth close ups in this movie. I'm not a fan.
Oh yeah, porn director. This guy's doing what he's used to.
Cut to the next morning. They got to go to the grocery store. The mom gives the kid the list. Hey, do your shit. This is actually a pretty suspenseful scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid's doing some shopping. He's at the refrigerated section.
So his mom's doing what she's doing, and you pay attention to what she's wearing because it comes into a main part of the scene, and she's wearing this fucking god awful like leisure women's business suit thing. Like in this,
he looks like in this 90s Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, but it's like it's not like a business attire, but it's like leisure business. You know what I mean? Like she has like
it's like a casual pantsuit.
Yeah, they're it's like she's got a blazer on, like whatever, like shirt, like an undershirt that you wouldn't wear unless you have your blazer over it. But it's like kind of
right.
But then like the pants are very like almost parachute pants, like, but they're like business pants. Like they're like baggy, like in that weird. They have those like weird creases. There's a name for the style of pants, and I can't think of it because
the '90s were a weird time.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so. Because Joe Rogan talks about them in his he had these pants that he wore. It was like the style, and like he's like, I would kick my ass basically if I saw myself in real life wearing like. It's just funny. They're just these. Yeah, there's a name for them. That's what they look like. But anyway, so she gives him half the list, and she was to do, and they separate. Yeah, so he's like walking around.
He goes to the refrigerated section, and he opens the door, and all of a sudden, Clint comes up and he opens the door next to him. They make eye contact and the chase is on. You know, they're kind of like, they're not running through the store, but like walking intensely. They don't want to really.
You missed like the main part of that scene, because he's in there getting his things, and then you see the doors open, but it's kind of like fogged. You remember how like in the grocery aisles and stuff, you don't get like that
The frozen section.
Yeah, the frozen. Yeah, so you get that like kind of, and you see Clint Howard walking up slowly, but he doesn't really fully recognize a kid because of the glass. So now he's looking in, but the kid's just staring in fright the whole time. And then Clint is like, all right, why does this fucking kid keep staring at me, whatever? And he looks down at the shoes, because it goes back to the shoes again before they start running. He realizes he's just wearing white shoes. They're not the orange ones that he decided to put all that ice cream in them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not the Chuck Taylors now. They're just like white sneakers.
Because when they went to leave, I don't think we talked about that. He filled the kid's shoes up with ice cream and beetles and cockroaches and worms. So the mother
on the porch.
Yeah, on the porch. Yeah. So the mother's like, "Oh, you always make a mess. Get another pair of shoes." So now he's wearing these white Chucks. You know, so they got to do.
I just thought they were trainers.
They're Converse. They're like the flat. I think they're the flat ones. They're not like the high top Chucks. They're like
just like your standard white Converse sneakers.
Yeah.
So then, he does notice him.
But then he realizes after, because the kid keeps staring, and then that's when the chase starts.
Yep. Kid runs into like this little rack, knocks over some like toilet paper, paper towels, or whatever. They're walking intensely. They're not running because they don't want to, cause a scene. And another great scene with Clint.
Ridiculous.
He walks past this lady. And she stops him, and she's like, excuse me, maybe you can help me, like, is this lipstick color right for me? Because, like, my chart says blah, blah, blah. And obviously, he could care less.
This is the lady I was talking about. She's the director's wife at the time, and she was a porn star. That's the scene, yeah.
Now that you mentioned that her acting is quite, porny. But what she compared it to something red, like cherry or something like that. And he's like, "Ooh, cherry's good. Yeah, get a dozen." Yeah. And then he just runs off. Like, okay.
But like, this is like, it looks like a small mom and pop grocery store. So it's like, first off, they're knocking shit over all over the place. He's broad daylight. No one sees anything. He's chasing a kid on top of it. And then, while he's stopped talking to her, he crawls on that like cart, and the lady's like pushing some grapefruits or something, or oranges.
Like a produce
cart. I think you would notice a 120-pound kid getting on the bottom of your cart. Never mind now, like as she's pushing the cart, you can see the kid trying not to kick her in the shins.
Yeah, his feet are up in the air, dangling,
up and dangling out the side, like moving around. And then he strategically rolls out like randomly. You think the cart would get like lighter instantly. That's why they had to have cuts there. It's not like it could be like a flowing scene.
Yeah, and he kind of loses.
Yeah,
he kind of loses track of him. Actually, it did work somehow. And kid makes it back to the stock room, like where the frozen meats are hanging. And there's a pan of these boots and like this white, butcher's coat covered in blood. And at first you think maybe the kid's in trouble, but it's the actual butcher.
I thought it was Clint all dressed.
Yeah, me too. But it was like the actual employee there, and he's like, "Hey, don't worry. There's nothing to be afraid of or whatever." He had like
a sickle in his hand too. Like
I thought a bone saw.
Yeah. Oh, but that's right. Yeah, it was like a hacksaw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like ridiculous.
Definitely thought he was gonna be a bad guy, but he wasn't. And they take him back. Yep, they did. They got us.
Bitches. They got us.
They take the kid in the office. He's obviously shook up. She's like, "What happened?" He's like, "If he said it, if I tell you, they'll kill me." But obviously, he does tell them because the cops show up with a warrant to the old ice cream store where Clint is. They hand him the warrant, and he says, "Oh, can I get a copy of this?" It's like, dude, that's your warrant. Like, that's your copy. Yeah.
Or
obviously,
or no, I don't think he asked for a copy. He asked if he can keep it. Yeah.
Same
difference.
Something like.
It's basically like it's yours, bro. Like,
and oh man,
they fuck his place up.
Cops go in there and tear that.
They literally go in there with
apart.
a fire and axe, and they start chopping at shit. the one cop. They're just kicking everything over.
Yep.
And it's pretty bad considering the kind of damage they did that they don't find the little secret room with the kid in it.
Seriously.
Like all the shit
one of
they
the
did.
cops even said, hey, if you hear any hollow doors, make sure
look for hollow walls and hollow trap doors or some shit, like specifically. That was Jan Michael Vincent said that, I believe it was him.
Yep. Well, they found nothing. But this was the scene I was saying earlier when his voice stops being that gravelly voice and it turns into regular Clint Howard.
Well, it had some foreshadowing
guys,
of the big cutters, though. Remember?
Yes.
The big thing in there in that scene. You could be like, because there was this giant crystal clean thing. And he's like, oh, I used it to cut nuts. Because the guy's like, I hate to get my hand caught in that thing. The one cop. It looked like it would just take your arm right off. Like it was just all these crazy blades.
Yeah. Yep. But they don't find anything.
Nope.
And
shitty cops. They should have. Shitty cops.
Yep. Oh my God. They're trope cops for sure. So they leave, and Ice Cream Man, he goes into like a false bottom in the freezer, I think, or one of the storage rooms, and it goes to a caged area.
Yeah, it's
and
like
you
the
see,
side. It's like a vent, like an air vent. He pulls it out.
Yeah. Yep. And he goes down, and Small Paul is in a like caged area, and he's still alive. And like you said earlier, there's like a little bit of a connection between them, a little bit like mended spirits, like, hey, we were both sick kids, but we got better. And
and he's like, listen, kid, he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. He's like, I don't want to hurt you. So you're like a little bit at ease with him.
Yeah. And basically it's like the Pied Piper, like, he's getting these kids, well, not all the kids, but he's getting this kid to believe his story. And
I think it's a little more. I think it's because they keep showing the Ice Cream King, and he has like a shrine to him and whatnot, and they keep setting up almost like you can tell like he this kid is starting to like him a little bit. I mean, it gets into more of that later, but it seems like he's trying to mentor him almost. Like you can see you can see the setup. It's kind of obvious. But they didn't hide it very well.
But I feel like this kid is too smart for it because he is the smart one of the bunch. And I said at this point in the movie, like, maybe he's playing Stockholm Syndrome to make sure he doesn't die. Some people might not get that when they watch the movie. Some people might see it as an actual connection. But like I said, I kind of felt like, oh, you know what? Maybe he's playing him just to be safe.
I didn't get that. I can see that, but I don't think this movie they were smart enough when they wrote the script to do that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You know how the ending is, so
I lost you.
You know what I mean?
I lost you.
I said, yeah, but you know how the ending goes, so who knows?
Yeah, well, we know how the ending goes, so I mean, we'll get there.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Anyway,
I think the ending kind of works more in my favor, but we'll get there.
No, the actual last scene of the ending, the last scene of the movie works in your favor. Yeah. But we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. God damn it, we'll get there. Sorry, I just squeezed my nuts. That's why I got so high. Yeah, so they cut to a scene in the church, literally nothing, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to have to get this son of a bitch ourselves. Boom. Rocketeers. They're all wearing like matching berets and shit like that.
And they have like these headsets with antennas that would give them away like a mile away because like they stick up like 3 feet past their heads. Yeah, it's like you like hide in a bush and all of a sudden you see his silver antennas like reflecting any moonlight or anything like off them. It's hilarious.
Basically, it's like any 80s movie. Like it's like, okay, now they're the Goonies, or now it's like Home Alone. Like now it's these kids against the adult, and it's that shit. I love it, but that's what it is. So they sneak up on the scene where Clint Howard's in the cemetery. I guess he's visiting the original Ice Cream King, and he brought him ice cream, like this big bag of ice cream, and he's like, oh, you could hand this out to your friends later. Like, okay.
Yeah, he's definitely off his rocker.
But Clint gets real serious and looks to his left, and he goes, do you mind? I'm trying to have a conversation with someone here. like what? Like the other grave sites, like looking or listening. Oh, I love you, Clint. You are a national treasure.
So bad.
Yeah, so basically, the girl gets in and takes pictures of the freezer with like the blood everywhere
Well,
and
they
stuff like
split
that.
up. They split up. So like they leave her alone because the fat kid got left behind. So they need to go find him.
Never explained what took him so long. Probably just the fact that he was fat and he couldn't keep up.
Yeah, I think that's the common.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, common theme in the movie.
to be a Rocketeer, you gotta have to be like stealthy. He's like a space shuttle, you know, like he's not necessarily fast.
But then we do get she gets the pictures, and then we get the scene where the kid shoots the cop car with the rocket, which is what I was talking about. I'm like, I'm jealous. I wish I would have thought of that when I was a kid.
The kid freaks out, thought it was the ice cream truck, sets off the rocket, hits the car. It's the cop car, and the cop goes, "Holy shit, that kid's got a gun." You're a fucking cop. What?
I laughed my ass off at that, and I still did right now when you said it, and I don't know why. Like,
Well,
I think it's his
dude,
like reaction is just hilarious, like the facial expressions.
unless that kid had a RPG. Like, you never seen a fucking rocket? What's wrong
I
with
don't know,
you?
man. Chuck Norris and Delta Force had rockets like a third of that
Oh, that's
size
true.
on his motorcycle. They're like a third of the size of that rocket, and they were blowing shit up. Like, just saying,
Are you saying Chuck Norris was a Rocketeer?
he could have been. He could have been. He might have been
Could've-
the original.
Well, the cops tell the kids, well, it's not funny to play jokes. It's not this. It's not. Yeah, we get it. And they're
Well,
like,
they think it's building up a story. They think they're crying wolf, basically.
right. And they say he's got our friend, the girl. And, so the cops actually go over to the girl's house and the pastor answers or whatever. And he's like, look, can you just make sure she's in bed? And pastor goes and he checks and he looks under the blanket. And like he kind of does like a double take, like, oh, well, is she really there? But the movie doesn't let you know. And then the guy goes downstairs and he tells the cop, hey, she's in there. I told you she would be, this Sunday's sermon's about trust. And then cut back up to the
He just threw some
bedroom.
major shade at that cop, basically.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
she's up there sleeping because she's a good little girl, basically. So fuck you. Better be at my
Yeah,
sermon
supposed to-
about trust.
Yeah, supposed to
Throwing the
turn the other
shade.
cheek there.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep, just turn the other cheek. Be a good Christian, but no, sling in the shade.
Yo. But he's right, because she is in her bed and she's holding the camera. So she did make it out, made it home, and has the evidence.
But the kids look like
Stupid
liars
si-
now.
Yeah. Stupid scene when she goes to get the film developed. All this could have been cut.
Yeah. And he's
'Cause
a
she-
notable from a lot of 80s movies, that fucking the guy at the counter.
Yeah, yep. She's like, hey, I want this developed. He's like, well, we have this one option. She's like, no, it says you got 1 hour photo.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Well, we have like this 8-hour photo. Who the fuck would want 8-hour photo? I want it in an hour. It says an hour. Well, we have this package deal. And she's like, look, I'll be back in an hour. Thank you. Okay, yeah, all that could have been cut. I mean, what?
Yeah, I don't even think that guy's might have been credited. I'm not sure. I was actually looking for his name.
Yeah, I could. What, as Photoshop guy or something?
Yeah,
might have
I
a better
just
chance.
went into the full. I didn't even realize there was a. I really thought that's all the cast they listed. I realized there's actually a full thing.
Yeah, it says at the bottom like full cast or full
Yeah.
whatever. I found that out last week.
Well, I just didn't realize this one had it. I just like looked past it because it's such a like crappy movie. I was just like, oh, they're not gonna have any of these people fucking listed. But yeah, they have a lot of these people listed. But
So they have a scene at the house where they're trying to get money together, get the film developed. The big brother walks in, sees one of the kids with the camera, opens up the camera, it freaks out, where's my film? Because the film isn't in there. So that's happening.
we're
but it
starting to
doesn't-
realize that there might be some sexual stuff on that film between him and
Well,
the girlfriend.
If you ever had a camera before the days of like digital cameras and printing from home, you knew how hard it was to get the naughty pictures printed. You kind of had to know a guy who knew a guy.
Or they just print
Yeah.
them out on a CD disc and they don't give you the actual prints themselves.
Right, and then
I heard from a friend.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's up to you, honestly. I mean, there's options, but we'll get into that some other time. They cut to the scene where the guy in the Mercedes, is going to the pool to check out that girl, and the ice cream man kind of blocks him in. He's like, yo, move that hunk of junk, or move that piece of shit, or whatever he says. And ice cream man doesn't take too kind of that.
Nope.
And hits him in the face with a fucking hot waffle iron, both sides. He's like, it's not a hunk of junk.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought it was pretty cool, though, because they did a pretty good waffle face. I mean, it wasn't like... I would have been cooler if it was like... It was more realistic, his face looking, is what I'm trying to say. It was just like red and marked or whatever, but like in true movie fashion, if they had the budget, they would have made it all like super deformed already. You know what
super
I mean?
impressed into his face.
Burned like it was been like... 24, 36 hours after like a serious burn, it's all like scarred and bubbled up, and that would have been cool if they showed that,
Yeah, I mean, they did other stuff that was cool.
No,
I'm happy with that.
That's just something you could have added to make it a little, a little more gory per se, like a little cooler. That's all.
So Clint shows up to the girl's house that wanted that ice cream delivery, and she's like all excited, like she's gonna get her pound of hard pack or whatever the fuck. Yeah. And she's walking in, and Clint's behind her, and he's like, well, I got something special for you. And he pulls out the second favorite gimmick of the movie, which was the first one is.
They're in a relationship with each other. This is one of the people she's cheating with. So when they had the argument earlier, it was this guy.
The cheating dad, and it's his head on top of a big waffle cone, like a big novelty waffle cone. And she turns around and sees it.
I would kill for a giant waffle cone like that filled with ice cream.
I thought you were going to say I would kill for a human head, which, you went the other way. That's okay.
I mean, I'll take a human skull if anyone wants to give me one. That's cool.
Yeah. Or a giant waffle cone. Either or. You be the judge. Put it on our Patreon. No, don't do that, please. So she screams, and he's like, shut up, and then boom, hits her. We don't see her anymore. So she's dead, whatever. You get the older brother going to the photo place, and they look through the preview window, and they see the pictures of them banging, and the brother runs in immediately, but the girlfriend sees the next few pictures being developed of like the blood on the refrigerator and stuff, and she screams. But that doesn't come into play later because they're like, oh, well, we have no evidence.
Yeah, bad cops, and she doesn't say anything. I don't get it. Like they have the evidence, right? It's just poor writing on top of everything. Poor script.
Plot.
Yeah, plot.
Plot holes.
Yeah, drove me nuts. I was like, really? Because I still think the kids are lying, but yet the girl's seen the pictures. They have the pictures. I don't know.
Exactly. And I thought that during the movie, like when that later scene happened, I'm like, why don't they just use the pictures? But cut to a scene. Clint and the young boy, Small Paul, are bonding, and this actually is like true bonding. They're making ice cream. He's showing how you add the ingredients. And there's a scene where Clint is like,
you hear that, everyone? He said true bonding. Just saying. Just remind them for later.
Yeah. Well, this is where I got a little confused, but guess what? My theory's still right.
No, I disagree. Anyway, continue.
So Clint is like siphoning through this liquid, and he sees like there's like a couple gold earrings, and there's like a dental dam. And,
oh my god, yeah. I actually got a little fucking grossed out when I saw that. I'm like, oh.
It was the 90s, okay?
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying it's like it's in the ice cream now, and like he pulled that. It's like her earrings, like that, like her ring, like you're like, I'm like, oh.
Hey. Like, at least she was a safe whore.
I thought they were actually. I thought it was a cock ring at first. So like I thought they were like making it like an extra joke that like her, like her pussy was like just stuffed with things. But then I realized like it was like her earrings and just that like like part.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. It's not as bad as I thought, but it's still fucking gross because
the lady's just disgusting.
A walking cum dumpster basically.
Yeah, but like I said, she was a safe cum dumpster,
Sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So you get the scene where the kids, they meet up again at the park. Nothing really happened. Then you get the cops. They show up to the mental ward. They talk to the main doctor there, and this guy just has red fucking flags all over him, and the cops are just like, meh, no, seems to check out. Like, what? Yeah, are you kidding me?
He seemed like a good guy. Yeah, they were good.
Gene Michael Vincent, you should know better. But you know what? He doesn't have his sunglasses on in this scene, and I see what you're saying. I see it,
yeah,
dude.
his face is a little beat up. It gets worse.
Plastic surgery.
It got even worse. But like when you look at his old
That's
pictures,
sad.
his old ones, like he was a very
Kinda
handsome dude. You can tell, like, he was gonna be like the next.
Kind of had like a Patrick Swayze look to him almost, like
Sort of, yeah, because Patrick Swayze had that like tough guy, handsome dude, but he can also do like the sappy roles. Like this dude could have been like a Patrick Swayze like actor. He really could have been.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
But the cops are walking through the sanitarium, and they get to the part that we spoke of earlier with like all the graffiti on the wall and stuff. And they walk into a room, and they see a guy strapped to a table and has a giant needle in his head. And the doctor, there's one scene when the doctor is walking out of the office. He's like, "Today is not a happy day." And I'm like, yo, you guys aren't going to arrest this clown? Like, seriously?
My God, yeah, that whole thing was messed up.
So then, like, the movie kind of turns into, like, some fucking weird, like, zombie movie for, like, 10 minutes.
I would say zombies, but they were just deranged patients running the asylum, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think they killed the real doctor. He was the guy on the table with the thing in his head. And then that guy was pretending to be a doctor. I think he was a patient. I don't think he was the actual doctor from the scene.
Okay.
That would explain some of the craziness. He was faking.
How hilarious do you think it is that they said the term "Happy Days" in this movie like 20 times, and Ron Howard, Clint's brother, was popular in Happy Days? You know what I mean? Like, that had to have been a rib.
Yeah, there's probably other stuff mixed in there also as jokes.
Oh yeah, I just didn't catch them
he's
all.
like, we always have happy days here. It's always a happy day. Like, he's just over and over again.
It's like, yeah, we get it. Clint Howard's related to Ron Howard. Thank you. Porn directors. So basically, you get the. Yeah. Then you get the scene where you have all these like mental patients like slowly chasing after the cops, and like they're beating each other up. Like there's a scene where like one patient grabs another patient, starts hitting their head off the floor, and the cops just walk by, like not trying to arrest them.
Well, I think they're trying to get out without getting basically jumped and attacked, so they're just cautiously stepping out. Yeah, they're not going to arrest anyone. They need to get. It's only two of them, and you start seeing like there's like 40 or 50 of these fucking patients, Yeah,
and as we know from actual zombie movies, horde mentality will always win in the end.
It'd be cool now, but it only takes one to start it, and you can't. Crazed people have, they have crazed strength, and just you never know what they're gonna do, and they're definitely like if I knew it, like knew stuff better, like he was in the Andy Griffin show. Clint Howard and stuff, and he didn't have any like speaking roles. He was always eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches and like offering them to people. Apparently, I was just reading some stuff, but I'm sure they went through some of this older stuff, and maybe there's a play at the Andy Griffin show somewhere in here. You know what I mean?
I'm sure.
It's just nothing we're gonna catch because it's not anything we really watch. We know about it, but it's not like it's from the '60s,
right? But like we know Ron Howard,
the Happy Days
popular.
thing, because that was a little '70s, and it was a super popular show. Like there's a difference between a super popular show in the 60s compared to the 70s, especially like when you were born in the 80s. You know what I mean? It's a little different.
Yeah.
Plus the Fonz. I mean, the Fonz was in Happy Days, so that made more waves. No pun intended, because the Fonz did some skiing things, but
No, but I don't think Andy Griffin was as iconic as Happy Days.
It was pretty close. I mean, for a different generation, it was iconic. It really was.
It was big,
and they did play it on I guess TNN or TNT, one of those, like all the time, like it played constantly.
Right.
So I think maybe it just didn't register with us, but it was still pretty iconic as hot, pretty
But
close.
Happy Days at one point
Yeah.
held the record for most viewership for like
yeah.
25
No,
years.
I'm not arguing. I'm not trying to say it was more. I'm just saying like it was probably just
No,
as
oh
much.
yeah, it was definitely iconic.
Like I had a
like,
I had an African gray parrot that whistled the Andy Griffith song. So
right, and
just-
Leave It to Beaver and like the Munsters, like like these big iconic sitcoms, the original run, but like Happy Days was huge and Ron Howard was huge, so I picked up those references.
yeah. No, definitely. They're easier to pick up too, I think.
So yeah, you see the kids on the bikes and the ice cream trucks pulling up, and of course the skinny kids are faster and they get away, but Tuna, he ain't so fast, and Clint actually grabs him off the bike while they're driving and scoops him in. Like, dude, Clint's gotta have some upper body strength.
Fucking jack that kid up.
Seriously, what was that, Buff Bagwell? Sorry,
Doing
that
Buff
was from a
Bagwell,
conversation. Hey man, I want to get calf implants. He grabs Tuna and he puts him in his little chest freezer in the ice cream truck, and they the other two remaining kids make it to the big brother, tell him what's going on. Now the big brother believes them, which makes me believe like they saw the pictures but they don't have the evidence for the cops. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, this kid also thinks he's in the dinner party earlier. There was a scene where he was like yelling at the dad for doing like 30 and a 25 or something. And he was all going off like, I'm going to be a cop. And he's like, don't think I'm going to cut you any breaks when I become a cop. So he's like super wannabe, which is why he gets like this too. He's like, I'll go make the bust and call the cops over and look good because, I'm going to be the greatest cop ever when I go through the academy.
He even says, "Oh well, I already have the gun. The badge comes next."
Yeah. Meanwhile, going back to my gunness, because I'm gonna be that guy. The fucking hammer is cocked on it. He's like his hands on the trigger, and he's like just like sitting on the roof. Like no one has a gun like that. Like only it's like who shot this?
Idiots.
Who shot this?
Yeah,
It drove me crazy.
A porn director.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, who would've thought?
I mean, now granted, porn directors are used to dealing with half-cocked items, but
Hey-o.
thank you. I'll be here all week.
Or him with his buy movies. It could be full cocked items. Hey-o.
Did we really have to go down that street?
We did.
So, they're like, all right, well, we're going to get this motherfucker on our own. Cut back to the cops. They pull up and, they see the ice cream man. Or no, they pull up to the ice cream building. And the older brother gets out. He's like, if I'm not back in 10 minutes, you use this line and blah, blah, blah. So you see someone get out the building of the ice cream place and he walks to the car, but like he's hiding his head. And it's like, okay, well,
he's also got the jacket on.
Yeah, he's pretty much wearing everything the guy was wearing, but he's hiding his face. You know what I mean? So you know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We're not idiots.
Surprise, surprise. It's Clint Howard, and he puts an ice pick through her bottom of her jaw up into her brain. Basically, it's pretty close to getting like a King Tut piercing.
Yeah, but it's
reversed.
Really, actually, it is a pretty good effect, even though it's not very hard to do. They did it well.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of blood pouring out and everything, but they didn't have like shitty camera cuts and whatever. You know what I mean? Like it was just one fluid, nice stab,
right.
and it looked good. It just looked good.
They should have made a lot more of their shots off of based off of that compared to earlier.
A little bit of blood wouldn't have hurt, but I mean I get it. It probably would have made it a little more complicated to do.
Sure. Yep. So the kids get out of the car. The older brother must be dead because Clint's wearing his clothes. They don't show what happens to him. The girlfriend's dead. She gets stabbed in the mouth. So the kids get out from the back seat and they run. They hide behind a police car. I would like you to now describe my favorite scene in the movie besides Clint Howard's dancing.
All right, so now Clint Howard is taking. Well, I mean, you know what it is, but they try to play it off like you don't realize it. So he's using the decapitated head of the 2 officers that were watching his ice cream parlor earlier in the day, and he's talking to the kids, basically going, "Hey, he's not a bad guy. He's just whatever, blah blah blah." And
why don't you like the ice cream man?
It's like, just come on over, and then the other cop head comes up and they start talking back and forth, and basically he's doing a puppet show, but it's really,
but the mouths
the mouth
are actually moving.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, they did a really good job showing that his hands went up through the neck, and his hands actually, go through the throat and are controlling the mouths, and he's like moving around just like puppets, and he leaves them on his hands. So now the next like couple minutes, he's chasing the kids, talking to them with them on his hands.
Do you know what those handles are that are going into their heads that are making their mouths move like that?
What?
Ice cream scoops. The ice cream scoop, how you flick that.
Was it? See, I didn't realize it was that. I thought it was just like his hands in there.
Because he knocked them out. He knocked those cops out with the ice cream scoops when he jumped off the roof of the truck. You know what I mean? And then he has ice cream scoops going into their neck.
Well, no, those are different cops. Those are the 2 detectives. That's not the dead. Those aren't.
Okay. Well, he knocked them out with those scoops.
Yeah, so I thought he just had them put away at this point. But you could be right. I just don't recall the ice cream scoops being in the head. Like,
he's holding the like right at the neck. He's holding the handle, and the that's obviously like how he's trying to get the mouths to move.
I mean, I've seen this movie a bunch of times before. I obviously don't know the movie like the back of my hand, but I was doing other things and stuff while I was watching the end of this movie.
Right.
Yeah, so I didn't notice the ice cream scoops. I thought it was just his hands. Either way, it's pretty awesome. It's a really good looking scene. They did an excellent. It's probably the best effect in the movie, I think, honestly.
Yeah, and it's hilarious, and I think
it's well acted, well shot, surprisingly well shot. Because this movie isn't known for its cinematic. Like we talk about the lighting and the scene setups and whatever. It's like as basic as you can get. Like, with $2 million, we could have made this movie and probably made it better. You know what I mean?
Oh, but hindsight is 20/20.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just saying, not that we're fucking directors. I never direct anything. I know you mess with. No. I know you like to dabble with some things. You have idea, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, we could have directed. Not saying this guy's a shitty director per se. We sort of are, but you know what I mean. He's good at what he does in porn, but it doesn't really translate over to maybe if he did more movies, he'd learn more and would get better at it.
I'm surprised he only did one movie, and it was this movie, as an actual movie. Yeah. He easily could have picked up more directing credits.
Honestly, like, considering it's his first movie, it's actually not that bad.
No,
it's
not at all.
It's pretty good, like, for being his first movie.
And not having to worry about like camera angles and stuff, because he did direct porn, so he knows about lighting. Yeah. He knows about atmosphere, all the basic stuff. He knows. They probably need to know about lighting and shit more than fucking regular directors to a certain extent. Yep.
Trying to make everyone's bodies look,
I'll say it now. I don't care. I'm not gonna do it. But I actually looked into directing porn at one time when I was first getting into my cinematography and stuff, because it's very easy and it's a very quick turnaround. And it's pretty cheap to produce. But my biggest thing was consistency. Porn directors have to be extremely consistent. You have to put out a product that people like and they want every time, and I just couldn't see myself doing that.
You never know. Maybe you got good enough after a couple and make your own studio.
Yeah, oh my god, that'd be great. And we call it the GrindHaus of No, I'm kidding.
Hey man, I'm up for directing porn.
Fucking A. No,
I'd start if it gives me a paycheck and it's a steady one, I'll direct it. I don't give a fuck.
I'll start you off as a fluffer,
No, it's all right.
Hey Rob, this guy's got like a windsock going on. I don't know what to No, I would let you direct. I would
You'd
just
be the
produce.
Producer.
Yep. I'd put you right behind the camera.
Stunt
I'd
cock.
let you get your own. Oh boy. This might be something we talk about after we die.
I don't want to sound gay or anything, but I think fire is very romantic.
We'll talk about this after we're done.
I had to. Come on.
Good evening, freaks and creeps. Thanks for tuning in to GrindHaus on 42nd Street. This is Gorely Girl, and I'm here with Gore's Pick of the Week. If you haven't heard, GrindHaus added another new segment, 66.6 WKIL GrindHaus Radio. Gray has been hosting this new segment that's been released weekly. He's been getting a lot of listeners, and each week more new artists. GrindHaus Radio is providing a new way to help local and underground musicians get their music heard. It ranges from punk rock, metal, rap, and electronic. Wolfman, Gray, and myself have reached out to our personal friends, who then extended the invite to their friends. We've had bands reach out for airplay from Canada and Italy. This has been really exciting to us, and we're looking for more musicians. So hey bands and solo artists out there, if you're listening, send us a message with your info. With that being said, this week I wanted to share a music video and a hip-hop group that I love following. They're outrageous in their own sound, style, and their music videos will give you nightmares. This dynamic duo formed in 2008 with their two DJs to make electronic dance and an alternative hip-hop sound. I'm talking about the controversial music of Ninja and Yolandi of D. Entward. In their music video, I Think You're Freaky, this oddly charming couple show their creativity, dark sense of humor, and fun dance moves while creating a setting strange yet beautiful in its black and white tones. Yolandi's unique childlike voice may annoy some, but I'm mesmerized by the sound and lyrics. Ninja enters loud and strong, coming fast and hard. Oh, almost literally too. Be cautious because these videos pack a punch with perversion and foul lyrics. There are a lot of inappropriate innuendos, and they're proud of the trashy fashion. Their image revolves around the South African counterculture movement known as Zef. Zef is described by out-of-date fashion that's dirty, but throw some gold on it to make it fancy. Their lyrics are performed in English and Afrikaans, which is a West Germanic language, spoken in South Africa and Zimbabwe. After checking out I Think You're Freaky, take the rabbit hole to the rest of the music videos. Another one that's more terrifying as a short and not really a music video is Tommy Can't Sleep. After watching that, I don't think anyone really can. Oh, and Jack Black has an interesting character role in that short. I hope you've enjoyed Gore's Pick of the Week. Stay tuned for GrindHaus on 42nd Street for more of the gore.
So that was your comedy scene of the movie. If they were trying to do a serious horror movie and they filmed this scene, they had to have known like the people are going to be laughing their asses off. Like it's not scary at all. You know what I mean?
Unless they were totally naive and dumb, but some of the movie earlier is really funny because they're naive and dumb because it wasn't supposed to be funny like at all, but it was.
Yeah.
But this part was definitely seen to be written to be funny.
Yep. You know, the old lady's like, "What's that ruckus?" And Clint Howard's like, "Oh, we're playing hide and seek with some of the neighborhood kids." And then a minute later, like the kids, they run in like her front door and she lets them in. And she's like, "Oh, hide and seek, hide and seek." Like, okay, this bitch is dumb. So then Clint, like, I guess, goes in there and she gives up the kids. She gives the kids to him. It's like, "Yo, have you never played hide and seek?" But she's like, "Oh, you know, he always wins hide and seek." Okay, I get it.
This is when you start really, like, you realize there's something off about her, but you really start realizing, like, you're like, oh, she's just as fucking crazy as he is now. After you see, after you've seen the mental institute and now this, you're like, oh, she has no right of being someone's guard. Like, you know what I mean? She needs one herself.
Yeah, it's like they killed the original doctor and someone took over that role, and then she became just like a citizen. Like she left there and she took, you know, Ice Cream Man with her and they started their own little life.
Pretty much. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. Now you get some flashback scenes only because when the Ice Cream Man has the kids, you know, by the neck or the scruff, and he's about to take them in, Small Paul pokes his head out the door, and he's got a flashlight pointing on a picture of the Ice Cream King. And he doesn't even change his voice or anything. He's like, Ice Cream Man.
Friday 13th, part 2, anyone? Just saying.
Part 1? Oh, part 2. Part 2. Yeah, you're right. Beginning of part...
It's the end of part 1 a little bit.
Very little.
A little bit, because he's wearing the sweater, but in the second one...
is when
she's
it
got
actually
the sweater
uses...
and got the head, yeah.
Yeah, the old Texas switcheroo.
Yeah, but this time he's got a painting instead of actually having the guy's head. But yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So he's walking through the ice cream place. He's having these, what's it called? Flashbacks. Having these flashbacks, being in this big white room, doctors and stuff like that. And he's like talking to the Ice Cream King in his head and stuff like that. And he's holding the picture of the Ice Cream King, and he looks over, and Small Paul is like, has his finger right next to the plug, or his hand on the plug, and he plugs in the machine, and all of a sudden Ice Cream Man falls into the big mixer, the thing that they said earlier would tear your dick off and throw it in the wall. And
not really, but
well, you know what I'm saying, like
tear an arm off.
It's a violent mixer.
I don't know. Never mind. I'm just gonna let that go.
I work with mixers every day. Yeah. I mean, and this is a nasty, like 120 quart mixer. This thing would tear you apart.
So
100%.
So basically, what Rob is saying is, don't eat pizza from his pizza parlor because he puts his dick in the dough.
I did not say any of that. I said eat my pizza at my pizza parlor because I put my dick in the dough. Wait, no.
Apparently, he knows about getting his dick too close to the mixer.
Yeah, no, I don't even like being next to the thing when it's on, but that's a different story.
Wait, hold on. Do you guys actually have a giant mixer like that at your...
Yeah, 80 quart. We make dough every day.
Well, I know you make dough. I've heard you talk about it, in our talking. I just didn't realize it's such a large...
Well, okay, to be fair, this one in the movie isn't 120 quart. This is actually about a 500 quart.
Yeah, no, it's massive. No, I
I
didn't mean that much. I mean, because I briefly worked delivering pizzas, and they made some dough. They didn't make all their dough, but they had a pretty small dough machine. They only made their own dough for like their fancy
Sicilian.
Pizzas. It might have only been their Sicilians, and they made like one or two different artisan style. I mean, this is years ago. It wasn't like it is now, where pizza people go crazy with it. You know what I mean? For his white pies, where you get like the glops of ricotta,
fresh garlic.
Fresh garlic, yeah.
It's were you about to say ricotta?
Yeah, it's depending on how. I know. It's just how people like. That's what my family calls it, and that's what it's. They say some weird stuff. My family calls fucking calamari. Now I can't remember what it is. Galamad.
Yeah, galamar.
Yeah. Like, listen, all the weird gut instead of ricotta.
What is the red stuff that goes on pasta?
Well, they call it, if it has meat in it, it's gravy. If it's just regular, it's sauce.
It's sauce all the time.
I know, it's like the family.
Gravy goes on mashed potatoes.
Hey, man, I guess there's a divide in Italian families, man. It's a gravy when they put the chunks of pork and other stuff, and they boil it down.
That's a ragu.
A ragu, I don't know. They called it gravy.
I know
I'm just saying. Actually, my grandpa was born in Italy. I know that's what he says.
I know. What I'm saying, but it's an American thing. It actually started in like New York and New Jersey, because Americans would taste that sauce at the restaurants and stuff, and they would be like, "What is like that?" It's like a meat gravy on, and that's where gravy got. You know what I mean? So I know why people use it. But it's sauce. It's red, white, blue. I don't give it. It's sauce. Anyways. Clint Howard falls into the machine, or he gets sucked in the machine or whatever, and you see his legs, like he's submerged in the liquid. The mixer turns on, it's violently shaking, his legs are flailing all over the place, and that's what does him in. But Small Paul has his little catchphrase at the end. Did you catch that?
No, I was dealing with the dog at this time now. When I was trying to watch it, I don't remember what his catchphrase at the end was.
Taste that, ice cream dick.
That's right. You said that earlier, like when we were talking.
Yeah, and that's what made me say, like, maybe you should have repeated that one, before saying it out loud, bud. But so the kids, cops go in. It's all said and done. It goes to the tuna and the guy and the girl, and then the missing kid. He's there, and they make him a member of the Rocketeers.
Gray here thinks that he won this argument.
Wait.
No, but I'm just hold on. I'm talking about the end. Like,
there's one more scene.
I know, but I'm talking about how he saved his friends. So you think?
Yeah, Small Paul killed the ice cream man.
I think
his friends.
I think he only saved them because of his friends. If there were other people, he wouldn't have saved them. Is what I was getting at. I think he was all about making the ice cream with the secret ingredient. You had to start in just right. Go into the final scene. Continue, my friend. My friend. Continue.
What?
Friend.
You hear this? Huh? You can finish.
You can finish.
Fine, I'll finish. All right, so they include the new kid.
It off, 'cause it sounds like you're snapping your meat around.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm getting my point across. They include the new kid as a Rocketeer. Is it? Yeah, taste it. Eat it, you ice cream dick. He said something, but he called him an ice cream dick.
I was just saying whatever came to my mind there.
They include the new kid as a new Rocketeer, and the new kid's like, "Where's Small Paul?" And they're like, "Oh, he's in therapy," which is weird because he wasn't in therapy. The last scene is a blacked out room with a spotlight of Small Paul wearing all white, and looks like he's in like some kind of asylum. And it gets closer, and he turns around and he smiles at the camera. And he's playing with, it looks to be like an ice cream maker.
Yeah, it's like a home ice cream maker, like that you would have at your house, like an old style.
Yeah. Boom, the end. Now, let me tell you my theory before this guy comes and jerks off all over the screen. Listen.
Okay, Jizz Wiper. You're just going to clean it after I jerk off all over, okay?
This kid was the smart kid. He was the bright one of the group. Hey, listen, I don't need that condescending. I don't need that condescending humming.
If you could only see my face right now.
I don't need the condescending humming while I'm trying to explain my theory, friend. Oh, don't go there.
I'm shaking my finger. I'm shaking my finger too, friend. I'm shaking it.
I'll snap my fingers and move my neck around.
That's exactly what I've been doing this whole time, actually. That's what I say. If you can only see my face, I've been doing that the whole time.
Like the puckered lips, like, First of all, sister, I'm a strong black woman. I don't need no man. So he's the smart kid of the group. He gets abducted. He knows he has to play it cool around this guy so he doesn't end up in the ice cream. Makes friends with him. And when he gets the first chance, he fucking kills him. Now, he ends up in therapy because he killed somebody and he saw some shit. So he is fucked up in the head. And he might become the ice cream man. But I don't think he did it for the reason you're saying.
I think he was all in. And it's just, if it wasn't his friends, I'm telling you, all in.
So do you think the original Clint Howard as the ice cream man, do you think he killed the ice cream king?
No, we watched him get gunned down.
Okay. Yeah, he turned out to be crazy.
Yeah, because he died in front of him.
So the smart kid just witnessed all this shit, and that's why he's in therapy.
But he could have been sold in because he made such a good friendly, and it could have been Stockholm syndrome that kicked in, and he loved his captor and would have done anything for him. But then he saw his friends, and he snapped out of it. He snapped out of it for a split second because he saw his friends. But if it was anyone else, they would have been ice cream. I'm just saying. Anyone else?
You're going off of circumstantial what ifs. I'm going off of what I saw.
It was enough to incriminate John Henry Robinson II Jr. Whatever. That's all I'm saying. Until they found the bodies, but everything else is circumstantial, and it worked.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the first time we're going to ask you, what do you think? Was Small Paul brainwashed and crazy the whole time becoming a captive, Stockholm syndrome, or do you think he was playing dumb to get the first chance to kill the ice cream man, and then he end up going crazy anyways because he killed someone? I mean, yeah, I'm saying when he grows up, he will be the next ice cream man for sure, but we have different reasons why.
I think he was all in until he saw his friends, and then killed them, and then it made him even worse. The end. Now, on to other news, real quick. There was a planned sequel at one point in time. On October 9th in 2014, a Kickstarter campaign was backed by star Clint Howard, and he started a fund for Ice Cream Man 2, Sunday Bloody Sunday, to coincide with the film's 20th anniversary. However, the campaign was closed on October 30th of 2014 after only 70 backers and just over $4,000 was made, nowhere near the $300,000 goal. However, it is stated that the project has not been abandoned and stated that they are looking for a new crowdfunding structure and alternative financing for the film. There is no current news on the filming of this movie, and that was circa 2017, so obviously it's been almost 3 years, depending on when it was in 2017. Since then, so It doesn't look like it's going to be made, but there could have been a sequel.
Yeah, well, it's funny because when we were actually looking over certain things, I thought I did see something called Ice Cream Man 2.
It's called Ice Cream Man, but I was going to get into that in a second. I just wanted to talk about like something real quick. It's called Ice Cream Man, but it looks like there's like in the one picture, it looks like there's a 2 after it, but when you click on it, it doesn't say it anywhere. There's no 2 anywhere. Yeah, because apparently there's a ton of killer ice cream men out there. This is a thing. I didn't realize it till I just started while we were talking on this, while you were going through stuff, I started looking.
It's like its whole little subgenre.
Yeah, this one is, the one you're talking about is called The Ice Cream Man. It tells a story of a Vietnam vet turned ice cream cart driver whose cart is stolen and friend killed by a drug lord and his gang. The Ice Cream Man loads up his Magnum and scoop and sets out to exact revenge.
Okay.
That sounds like it's a little straight up revenge.
It's
revenge movie with but he's an ice cream man.
It's what's it
Death
called?
Wish
It's Death Wish. Yeah, fuck, man, you beat me to it.
I was trying not to call it that because it's a little different, but yeah, it was. It's it's
but you know
similar.
what it is.
Yeah,
It's,
it's just a revenge flick. It's a certain type of. It's like
Death
I
Wish
spit
and
on
Rambo.
your grave. Like that's a revenge.
Oh, there's a good porn parody for I Spit on Your Grave called I Spit on Your Cock.
It probably is.
No, I mean there is.
I know. As I said, there probably is. Then there's
no, I don't know.
Then there's the ice cream truck. It's from 2017. The other one that was in post production still. The other one,
okay.
This one's just called the Ice Cream Truck. Mary moves back in her suburban hometown to find the suburbs are scarier in more ways than she ever remembered. That's all it says.
Okay.
It says the Ice Cream Truck, a suburban nightmare. And it's got this it looks like the Jeepers Creepers truck a little bit. When you look at it, but it's original paint job, not all kind of super souped up.
Right. Yeah. The
Jeepers Creepers truck.
So, honestly,
not to be confused with David Lee Roth and Van Halen and the Ice Cream Man.
Great song. Honest to God,
all the flavors to all the women.
What is your? Who wants my sweet meat treat? Okay, never mind. What did you think of this movie?
Overall, it's kind of a terrible movie, but it's terrible in all the right ways. It's fun. It gets a little slow at certain spots. I would have liked a little more action in certain things. I think the asylum part was a golden opportunity for a bunch of just like action scene little, you know what I mean? Like there was a little bit of fighting and whatnot. And it was just poorly, not very well choreographed and whatnot. But I felt
like glanced over.
Yeah, it was very glanced over. I felt like they could have had them kill a couple of those people or whatever and battle their way out, and it would have been kind of cool. But
yeah,
I get it. I mean, a couple of kills could have been a little bloodier. I don't think it would have, hurt the budget. It's just we're talking fucking syrup and dye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, I know it's harder to have apparatuses to shoot that stuff out, but there's ways of working a way around it. But I think that's being a lacking film maker as he is.
Yep. Even with cuts and edits, you can cut to a certain thing and cut immediately back, and there's more blood or whatever.
There's ways they could have did it. The effects overall were pretty good for the most part. Rather enjoyed them.
Right.
It's funny. It was a funny movie. It was enjoyable.
We've.
Did you hear my phone?
Was that Pac-Man getting high?
Yeah, it's the Bloodhound Gang.
Hey guys, want a free base? No, Pac-Man, drugs are bad. Sorry, man, can't help you.
It used to be the longer versions. You hear like the little fucking at the end, but that shortened it.
Holy macaroni! Good song. Yeah. Good song. We've had this discussion before. You are not a fan of movies that are like they're so bad that they're good, but they're also like so bad that they're bad. Like you said, like Thanksgiving.
But like they're so bad that they're really that bad. Like I just can't do it.
Right.
This one's like bad, but all in all the right ways. Like so, it's like it's so bad it's good. But it's not like it's not so bad it's amazing though. It's just so bad it's good. There's a difference.
Right. And that's where I'm feeling like it's not like Thanksgiving is only bad when only good because it's bad when the turkey is on the screen.
Yeah.
The rest of that movie is just bad because it's
bad. And it's like in the negatives bad. It's like that bad.
But
the turkey parts are fucking hilarious. They really are. But it looks like shit. It's shot like shit. But the turkey parts are pure fucking hilarious. Like they're just that funny. For the most part, not all of them, but you could cut that movie and be 20 minutes and it'd be a fucking dynamite short.
And it's probably what it actually was at one point, was a short.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, man, we should just do a movie about this.
Just fluff it up here and there.
Yeah, not good. But I actually do consider this movie to be like so bad it's good, but I don't even think it's so bad. I honest to God, like if you were a fan growing up of Are You Afraid of the Dark and the Goosebumps, although it is more violent than that, there's more blood, there's more, it's rated R, but if you're a fan of like those and you like the 80s tropes with like, the group of kids and there's always the stereotype, no black people in this movie. Weird. I just noticed that.
I didn't think about that until you said something. Yeah, there wasn't, was there?
Not one.
I guess because it technically took place in like a upper class suburban neighborhood, and it is like we don't know exactly what date it is, but it was made in '95, so you didn't really see, like South Park. They weren't really too many tokens, like as South Park would call it, like they're mocking the whole white suburban.
And it's stereotypical. Yep.
The movie's very stereotypical. It wasn't supposed to be racist or anything. It's just,
No,
something you noticed. Yeah, there was no black people in the movie.
Like I said at the beginning, Clint Howard is a national treasure and
he is.
Should be utilized much more. I think he's better than Ron Howard.
Well, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
But Ron Howard has some smoking hot daughters, so I'm glad he's around too.
Are those actually his real daughters?
Yeah. Yeah, they're all his daughters in real life, like Rebel Wilson or whatever. Or what's her last name? Is that her last name? I think that's her name. I
didn't realize.
Quick.
From why can't I pull the fucking show on Netflix?
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development. Yeah, there's that episode where he's dating her, and then it's like go back to. I didn't realize that was his real family.
Yep, and Bryce Dallas Howard Paige Howard and Jocelyn Howard are all his daughters in real life. They're all like gingers, but like they're all
he's actually
like
got
hot.
a pretty attractive daughters. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard being the most popular. I don't necessarily think she's the hottest, but she is definitely hot. Hold on. Isla Fisher plays Rebel Allie, Ron Howard's secret daughter.
Yeah, that's not his real daughter, her. The rest of them are, though, yeah.
But the character is actually a subtle play on the recent Hollywood gossip. Rebel Allie is Ron Howard's daughter, but he likes to keep the fact a secret so she doesn't get special treatment. What?
I don't know. Sounds like Ron Howard's got some secret sex daughters.
This is weird. I'll have to do some more. Yeah.
Easy there, Columbo. Just take it as it is and just enjoy it.
Just like Howard's real children, Bryce Howard and twins, Paige. Oh, so she's played his daughter in multiple roles before? That's weird. I don't know. I'd have to get to the bottom of this. But not tonight because it's late.
Calling Perry Mason over here.
Yeah, thank you, Columbo. I do like this movie, and I do recommend it to anyone who's a fan of nostalgia horror from the late 80s and early 90s. If you like the tropes, if you like, you know what I mean? If you're looking to just laugh at random acting, this movie has tons of it. It is slow in some parts. Plot holes and continuity, just throw them out the fucking window. Other than that, it's a pleasure to watch.
There's no boom mics in the shots. Give him that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look hard enough, you'll probably see something, but...
Yeah, I don't think there will. I think that part was pretty good for the most part, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of continuity issues.
Yeah, it was shot well, edited. Well, no, it wasn't edited well. It was shot well. It was edited piss fucking
Well,
poorly.
I wouldn't even call it shot well. It was just shot good.
Yeah.
If it was shot well, it would have better cinematography, better setups, better camera angles.
Yeah, but we're not watching fucking Clint Howard and a Martin Scorsese movie.
But,
you know what I mean?
Like, if you add some of that stuff to it, you know, because some horror movies have it, you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
You know, they don't have to be fucking, you know, Oscar-winning cinematography either. You know, he had like the very basics of the basics in this movie. You know, there could have been some better things going on.
Daniel Day-Lewis is the ice cream man.
I mean, they didn't need fucking crane shots and drone shots in this movie or anything, but
no, and honestly, it would have been too much if it did have it. You know, I think they did well with $2 million in the mid '90s.
Yeah, it didn't need fucking Sin City CGI. Like,
now, well, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, hold on. What would you rate it? You didn't say a number.
I want to say it for the end because I know we still have one more thing to show them, which is going to be Gore's Pick of the Week. So, enjoy. And we can just keep recording.
Oh, see,
I'll just cut this.
I thought we were just going to do that before we started talking about this stuff, and we just kind of just... start the episode with it. No. Like we're done with the breakdown, right? And then now we're doing the like afterthoughts and stuff, and talking about these other movies. It was supposed to be in between this stuff.
Oh, I thought we were gonna introduce it.
No, I didn't. I thought we were gonna introduce it too, and I thought you just forgot, and I didn't do anything, so I just kept talking, and I just thought you were just gonna add it in there at the end. You know what I mean? Because like this is gonna be over in like 5 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? It would have been.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this behind the scenes access of GrindHaus.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Let's leave it in. Still learning, still figuring things out.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm not even gonna cut it. This is how we actually conversate about how we make it. You know, a little sneak peek behind the scenes. But yeah, so we are. If you didn't already hear Gore's Pick of the Week earlier in the episode,
I hope you enjoyed it. What was it? What was the pick of the week, by the way?
Hold on. Oh, wait a minute.
I don't learn this stuff until pretty much after the fact.
I don't have the pick of the week. She's sending that to me tomorrow.
Oh, great.
I have.
All right, see, I don't even know what it is.
Week.
All right.
So
I thought she sent both. I guess not. All right. So Gore, if you're listening to this, we're not shaming you. Just get them to us earlier.
Well, no, because we changed the recording.
I know.
Date.
I'm just busting her balls. I'm allowed to have fun with this, aren't I? We're putting this in here.
Yeah. Enjoy Gore's pick of the week, Titanic.
Yes. Never let you go, Rose.
Now she's gonna have to do it. And she's gonna be miserable. I'm Gorely Girl, and this is the pick of the week.
Fuck you guys. All right, so
this is Titanic.
So what is your rating for this?
Campy rating as a fun movie or actual
just
rating?
Overall rating. What would you give it? Because it's averages between a 4 and a 5. What would you give it?
No, that's a shame. It should be at least the 7.5.
Really? You gave it that high?
I'm not. Huh? Yeah, because of a fun value, not as it's shot well, good horror, good suspense. As a fun sit down, let's waste an hour and a half. Yeah, 7.5.
I'm a little more strict on this one. I give it a 6. I only bump it up a point. Now, it is fun, but I think it's only going to be fun for certain people. But that doesn't change. I'm not putting that into my vote. I'm just saying, not everyone's going to like this movie, unfortunately. They should. But.
Sure. A year from now, I will not watch this movie by myself. But if I'm showing somebody this movie, I'll sit down and watch it with them because it's a fun time.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be catching myself rewatching this.
Yeah.
You know?
See, I can't give it a higher rating for that. I'm not saying you did, but I think it's I think it's a solid 6, which in reality is pretty good though.
It's better than average.
Yeah.
But it's
better
still
than
failing.
average. Depending on who rated it, it's still 2 points higher than than they gave it. I guess because you said it's more of an average of a 4.2 or something like that.
4.2 to 4.8 or some shit.
No, but I'm saying the average it out is more like a 4.2.
Oh, yeah.
But I said I saw a few
I
saw one that was a 4.9, but most of them were in the lower 4 range.
Low 4.
So it is 2 points
or high 3.
I did give it 2 points higher than more.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it I'll give it a 6.2.
Okay.
2 points
if
higher.
We're doing point
2 points higher.
2
points higher.
Yeah, but see if
I'm not.
I was saying 7.5, 8.
No points normally. I'm giving it a 0.2 sarcastic points.
Oh no, I've given other movies 0.5.
No, 0.5 is okay. But I'm talking the 0.2s. I said one won't do that normally.
Yeah.
That's just a sarcastic.
Because I would give it a 7.28 9. Did I hear a niner in there?
I'm gonna give it a 7 point pie.
There you go. So it's 7.3 point what?
3.1487698 whatever. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm just
3.141529. Then I forget. Fuck. That's OCD for you. This would be a fun movie to watch in a drive-in movie theater with a group of buddies.
With a creepy guy going around trying to sell ice cream door to door.
Actually have Clint Howard dress up with his little bow tie and white costume giving ice cream out during the movie. I'm sure he's not doing anything right now. Clint, if you're listening, I'll fly you out to Pennsylvania to one of our drive-in theaters. Let's put this together. And Ron, if you're listening and your daughters or any of one of them are single, just, fucking let me know.
If Ron's listening, hopefully he'll pay for Clint to come out because you'll be fucked up if you actually heard this and be like, oh yeah, you're gonna fly me out? Come on, Gray, fly me out.
Oh, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
I can't even get you to pony up for a computer. You're gonna fly him out?
Do you know how cheap plane tickets are right now? I would fly him around the world if he wanted to go.
I don't think they're that cheap, but
I mean they're relatively cheap, and it's in the United States. I doubt he moved to Spain or whatever.
I mean, he's probably in LA. It's probably an expensive trip still. It's gonna be $300.
Too bad. Look, if it's cheaper for us to drive out there and pick him up and come back, then we'll do that too.
That's cheaper. Gas is cheaper now, but
Well, look, we haven't talked about logistics, but we will, okay? Regardless, if he finds this...
Ron Howard,
we will
just use
do
your
it.
money and let us use your teleporter that you obviously have, okay? Because I know you're filthy rich. Teleport your brother here so we can bring him to the Mahong Drive-In. I don't know how to say it, but it's something like that.
Mahoning or something?
Yeah, Mahoning, Mahong, whatever. Fucking, it's the drive-in.
Yeah.
It's
a beautiful drive-in.
Out in Bumblefuck West-ish, or Central-ish PA.
Yep. Now, obviously, we'd have to wait till the quarantine's over, so actually people would show up. It wouldn't just be us watching your movie. But if that's what you want to do, too, whatever. We can do that. I don't care.
Now you're getting creepy.
Whatever. Hey, listen. He was the goddamn ice cream man. All right, you show him a little respect.
You know what? He was in the Wraith, so he gets all the respect.
Okay, see? All right. Maybe we'll have to do a double feature like the old GrindHaus. And we'll do Ice Cream Man and the Wraith back to back.
I'm all about that.
Awesome.
All about
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the GrindHaus on 42nd Street podcast. I am Gray.
I'm Wolfman. Don't get any diseases. No deaths on everyone.
Yeah, seriously. Just make it another couple weeks. You'll be fine. I promise. I don't promise. Later.
Later.